Welcome to Sofa City Sounds. We're actually on time, but we're not on the right day. We're a day early or 6 days late, depending on how you look at it. This we were supposed to do this last week and didn't get the opportunity to, and I hugely apologize for that. But I'm happy we get to sit down tonight. So please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rodrigo Jaguleiro Raquio, and it's a pleasure to be here on Sofa City Sounds with Amanda.
I'm happy to have you. You're like
Oh,
I have you. You pop in every single Thursday, and I'm
it's
really
true.
grateful for that. Your support is huge because every time you interact with me, it throws me back in the algorithm, and Sofa City has the opportunity to
That's
reach
awesome.
and more phones and more people's ears. So I'm grateful
That's
that you.
wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
sharing it right now. So basically, I'm posting on my other pages over there, right?
awesome. So
Yeah,
you're doing it from behind the scenes this time
yeah,
instead of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah,
This is fun. No, I'm so glad we got to do this. And like I said, I'm so sorry we didn't get to do it last week. It's just sometimes things are beyond our control, and I'm grateful that I work with people that have that understanding. So thank you for that.
yeah. Not a problem. Thanks for the opportunity as well. It wasn't actually a very easy day for me either. It was a little bit difficult, let's say, because where first of all I was nervous too. I was really looking forward for the interview, and I
Yeah.
had written down by that point like what I wanted to say. But then I just grabbed the paper and I scrub it. I go, okay, I'm not gonna say crap, like right on things I was going to actually post for in regards to my projects and the music and the different stories I got to share tonight. And I hear the show is going for between up to 2 hours. Hopefully nobody gets bored, but I'm very excited about this because I got a lot of topics to talk about, right?
Yeah, it can like I mean we've had it anywhere from like I think my shortest show was 27 minutes. Hola, Nikki. She says
Oh yeah,
hello.
hola. Yeah,
Yeah, the shortest show I think we had was 27 minutes, 27 or 37 minutes, and the
okay.
longest show we had was 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. Wow, that
Yeah.
must be an interesting interview for sure.
Well, I had Snake River Redemption come down for the
Yeah,
day.
okay, yeah. I remember those guys.
Yeah, yeah. So I had them come over. I made a whole bunch of suicide chicken wings. We played Can You Pass Me That with hot sauce. We ate chicken wing pizza. Josh made me pee my pants. So that was
That's
fun.
that's wild, actually. Like, especially what kind of sauce though? Like, you guys were going for something mild or really extreme?
Well, I have everything from Frank's Red Hot to the End hot sauce, which is 7.1 million Scovilles. So
Okay,
I kind of like to fuck around a little bit.
right. Oh, definitely. Like,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
like
Like, what the hell? Definitely. That's the
it's
whole
kind
idea
of
of
like my
experiments, right?
yeah, I don't know. It's my range of torture from Frank's to oh shit.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah, yeah. So, but what about you? Are you into the hot sauce?
Where actually I can try different ones, especially I love spicy food, like something that it took me years to get used to. Because what happens, a lot of people like assume because I'm from Latin America, from Chile, right, all the way South America,
Right.
you want to say the asshole of the world, right? And all the way at the bottom, right? Yeah, that's right, Chilean asshole. Kind of thing. So the thing what happens is a lot of people assume that all Latin America goes for the spiciest shit ever. But it's
Yeah,
not true actually. Mostly actually places like in Mexico and the Caribbean islands, that's where basically you find the hot spicy stuff. But
yeah.
anywhere down there in Chile, it's more mild, I would
You
say.
guys are about flavor.
Yeah,
You
it's more about the flavor more than actually being this.
say.
It's almost like you're eating a scorpion, like you don't want to get stung on your tongue with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like scorpion peppers. I love
Yeah,
scorpion.
scorpion peppers. Wow,
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So
But-
I never used to be able to do hot sauce, and
Okay,
I would look at a bottle of Frank's and I'd cry. And then after all those blood transfusions, I had some weird shit happen to me. Like when I get bitten by mosquitoes, I don't get itchy.
Yeah.
Thing is hot enough. I can eat the hottest fucking anything, and I'm good. Like it's
Right.
weird. It's really weird. Yeah. So yeah, I love anything hot. I do.
It took me a while. I would say when I came to Canada back in 1999, I started to get used to different food styles. So myself, I've never been picky about food. I like to try of anything and everything, especially when it comes to international food stuff like that. Like nothing fancy. I like street food more than anything else, to be honest. Yeah, anything like that, like from freaking Polish hot dogs to anything, anything else,
just
tacos,
eat a
whatever.
handful of whatever you got, and I'm gonna. Oh yeah, I love street food.
Mediterranean food and stuff like that, right? Middle Eastern, anything. Yeah.
Oh, I'm a sucker for food festivals, man. I don't look like I can pack it away, but fuck, I can eat.
Yeah.
Holy.
I kind of fortunate now in that way though, because if you have some food allergies or you react easily to certain things, right? Especially, I noticed that more in these newer generations too.
Yeah.
That people they is either lactose or what is it, or anything related to a special bread or anything condiments. Like it kind of it might actually really affect them.
Everybody's got a fucking allergy to something. Me, I'm allergic to seafood, but I'm an 80s baby. I've been allergic to seafood since I was born.
Okay.
I'm not picky. Like I'll eat it except for avocados. Fuck avocados.
Oh.
No.
No avocado?
Dude, I will try.
Are you kidding me? No avocados for you?
No avocado. Fuck avocados. No.
That's it. That's it. I'm out of this interview. I actually basically don't like avocados at all. I cannot take them. That's crazy. I love avocado.
We were just talking last night about how nobody's ever come up or walked out of an interview, or I've never cut one off or anything. And you're like, that's it. Fuck this.
Yeah, that's a fuck this thing.
Our chat is blowing up tonight. Phillips popped in and said, "What the hell? You like chicken wings? Of course."
Oh yeah.
Racist. I don't know what that meant. I think it was because I asked you if you liked hot sauce after we had spoken about eating hot food. I don't know if that was racist or not, but
no, not at all. Like nothing racist. I get everybody equally too.
What socks do you have on? I don't like. I'm not sure where I was supposed to go with that after talking about hot sauce, and whether or not you like hot sauce.
Yeah.
So no, Ja, that's not the door to hell behind me. I'm in hell, thank you.
Oh, over here too. There's a reason why I call it the Devilz cellar. Yeah.
Right? That's my sliding glass door. I have it that way so my neighbors don't talk to me.
That is really cool. Where nobody wants to enter the pentagram.
Well, I have it that way, but that's not true. All the neighbors try to talk to me. I can't say that. I don't have terrible neighbors. I have like my neighbor friends and then my friends' friends. That's the whole.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, what is it like having like just? I mean, there's always gonna be that neighbor, right?
Yeah.
I think we all have them.
I have a few of that neighbor.
Yeah, I know. What the hell? Fuck that neighbor. What the hell?
Yeah. Really, Beetlejuice.
That's right. Candyman.
Yeah. Look, there's a mirror right behind me. Right behind me.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. So no, somebody popped up in the chat and said Beetlejuice.
Exactly, I noticed that. Yeah.
Their color on their name was purple, so that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I see actually.
Yeah, it's already a busy chat. I think Philip left the room though. I think he thought I was a little.
Holy shit! What did I do? Like I haven't even done I haven't done a backwards flip yet. Like I haven't seen shit yet. Yeah, right. Ain't going out like that. Yeah.
Oh my god! Like, I don't know what I was supposed to ask you after we were talking about hot sauce though. Like, was I not supposed to ask you if you liked it, or what? Like, was I supposed to ask you if you like Care Bears, or like if you eat Care Bears? Or, like, where was I supposed to go with that?
Actually, I love Hello Kitty. What the hell? I grew up with those cartoons, basically. And also, the other thing I was going to say, speaking of food, I grew up eating seafood because I was living right on the main port of Chile in Valparaiso. So my father and my mother, they used to run a seafood market. They were distributors of seafood. So I would eat right after school. I would stop by the market. I would have clams, like raw clams, just open wide, right wide open, and also like just pour lemon on top of it and go like, oh my god, I need some seafood now.
You know, it's so fun. I was married into an East Coast family from Newfoundland. I was married into a Newfoundland family for 15 years, and let me tell you, when they ate lobster and crab, the walls ate the lobster and crab, the kitchen table ate it, and it's and like before my allergy. Why did you get booted, Nikki? That's fucked up.
What?
Before Nikki said
That's weird.
I got booted. My hands are off the keyboard. Sorry, it was me. But yeah, before the allergy developed, I used to be able to eat like lobster and crab and stuff like that. And I love it. Like I feel like I'm missing something, definitely. But yeah, when my mother and father-in-law would come home with coolers and they'd put plastic tablecloths down and what a night it would be with, you know, lobster and crab legs, and I miss it. I just can't eat it.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's not for everyone actually. I used to date someone who she was totally like allergic to seafood, and luckily my actual wife actually she prepares all the seafood for me, whatever she finds out there, right? Awesome. Especially the shrimps. I always have shrimps weekly.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. So, yeah, no, I
anything
and stuff. I just can't eat it, which is unfortunate because I feel like some days I feel like I'm missing out.
Right. So, yeah, no, that happens, right? Like kind of, I mean, also you have to understand too. Like we all have to understand that the involvement of the food processing as well, right?
Right.
It's kind of, it has changed over time. Things they get more simplified. It's not the same kind of dedication as it used to be before. It's more restrictive as well. Right, according to the rules that are out there or anything. So just like everything, I think that happens in art as well, music, movies, anything like food, whatever things that we tend to enjoy, it's always a restriction on it.
Why am I? I was frozen for a second. I heard everything you said, but I was frozen. Thank God.
Yeah, you were frozen for a little bit. Yeah.
No. Yeah. No. That's I definitely am. I used to be a fan. I'm not so much anymore, but that's
okay,
right? So
yeah, let's see. I'm just posting the last link over there, and I'm gonna there we go. It should be it. And it's Dev Technology. I always refer to that title, Killing Technology by Voivod, because the way things are, right? Like kind of sometimes you try to keep up with it, and there's always something like a kind of not working to its max, or sometimes you go offline out of nowhere, like internet gets cut off or interrupted or anything, right? So
I have a love-hate relationship with technology. We're right in that generation where like we didn't have it in the beginning of our lives, and then we had it in the second half of our lives, and some of us, some of us, chose not to like follow the technology train and like learn all that, because like I didn't give a shit. I didn't have a computer until 2007.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't have when my kids and I moved into this apartment 5 years ago, we didn't even have a fucking TV for 2 years.
Wow, okay.
Why? What do we need a TV for?
You didn't really miss much of anything though. Yeah, you didn't miss much of anything, because also like kind of a majority of people, they rely only on YouTube, Netflix or Prime or whatever thing is out there. But here's the funny thing, when you compare these TV services too, right? A lot of people, they say, oh, this is so convenient, it's cheaper. But then guess what? It costs about the same or more than cable, because if you want to see every single show going on out there, you gotta pay for every single service to get it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and it comes to about the same amount.
Marketing is a fickle motherfucker sometimes, man.
I
know. I went to school for it, so I knew what I was getting fucked over by.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but no, it's true, right? Because they'll come out with an awesome show, but it's only on Crave, and Crave is $6.99, and then Netflix is $9.99, and then the other one is $9.99, and then YouTube Premium is $9.99 because I have that
Right.
music, right?
So it keeps adding on.
Yeah, and then you're paying $100 in subscriptions. When I added up all my subscriptions for my taxes for Sofa City Sounds,
Yeah.
$125 a month. That's for Restream, for Canva, for my YouTube Premium, for my there was something else too. Oh, my other because YouTube Music and YouTube Premium are now separate, so there's
Okay.
two now. So yeah, so by the time it's all said and done, I'm paying $125 a month just so I can run my subscriptions for Sofa City Sounds, let alone my the Netflix and the Prime, and we have Prime because we use it, like we use Amazon. But
Apparently you get the Heavy Metal Thunder. Do you get do you get that Heavy Metal TV channel or something like that? Like a lot of people, they have been talking to me about it, but I'm not really into it. Like, I mean, I can find easily documentaries on YouTube or anywhere else.
I don't watch a lot of TV. I got the kids Netflix for Christmas.
Yeah.
Because there was a series they wanted to watch, but June starts in a month, so we're probably not going to have Netflix until there's snow on the ground again. But like aside from that, we have Prime because we have our Amazon and it comes with Prime TV, and it's not terrible.
Right.
And it works out relatively well. Like if you rent something via subscription, as long as you remember to cancel the subscription when you're done the movie, you can usually get away with watching the movie and then canceling the subscription before 7 days. Right. So like there's some loopholes. Me, I don't watch too much TV. I'm not into any of that. So like when the kids were growing up, there wasn't a lot of Disney. There wasn't a lot of, like Harry and his bucket of dinosaurs was the big fucking thing in my house.
I haven't even watched that shit yet. Haven't never heard of it. There are some TV shows I haven't even heard of.
Exactly. And those are the ones that I let my kids watch.
I still stuck with the 70s, 80s, 90s cartoons I used to watch when I was a kid.
What was your favorite cartoon when you were a kid?
Okay, I can tell you some stuff from robots. Japanese cartoons, they were the freaking mambo for me. Like, I love it. Like, you name it. Like, Future Conan Boy. Yeah, Future Boy Conan. What is it? Knights of the Zodiac. What is it? Dragon Ball Z. But those are more common, right? Then there's other ones like Messenger Z. There's other ones like Guy King, and different ones like they were popular at the time, right? The Centurions, Mask, Joe, Transformers, GoBots, you name it. Yeah,
that's awesome. That is. That's awesome. Right on. Yeah, I was into like the Thundercats and Transformers.
Yeah, okay.
I watched She-Ra because the name Amanda in Latin means Princess of Power. So
that's right. There you go.
The cartoon was fucking made for me, right? I watched a lot of He-Man. I watched a lot of He-Man.
A lot of He-Man for sure. Yeah, Silverhawks. Remember the Silverhawks?
I do.
Not many people know them, eh? Like they know just because of the referral of the Thundercats because it's under the same production. But at the same time, not many people got access to it, and they got some weekend animation on it. I had small rate cartoons. I grew up with older boy cousins, so I was into all that stuff. G.I. Joe, all that shit. Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the girls stuff. Yeah, like I mean, I'm sure maybe I did. Like I watched She-Ra. I think I watched a little bit of Gem and the Holograms. Which did you know?
Yes, I did. I did watch it.
Did you know all of the holograms were named after famous scientists?
I didn't know that part, but
I learned that.
I do have a poster of the Misfits, of the girls, like the rival band. I have them actually on my office downstairs.
Killer. That's awesome.
A friend of mine brought it over and I go, wow, that's a badass poster, man. Like I freaking love Gem, but it was just the Misfits, right? So I go and I bought it of him, right?
That's fucking awesome. Yeah, I always grew up watching like all the off-brand stuff. I was never into like all the stuff that everybody. Barbies. I had like 4 Barbies, and I used to bring them outside to the backyard, and I used to make skirts out of mud for them.
Really?
Well, yeah, because
Wow.
like I can't like I don't know. Growing up in the '80s, and people can at me all they want, whatever. Growing up in the '80s, little girls like it was only tomboys that played in the mud, right?
Right.
It wasn't that So like my parents bought me Barbies, and I was like, oh, let me rip all their clothes off and go outside and make them mud dresses.
Right. There
It's
you
like
go.
my parents still think I'm a little girl, but I get to eat mud.
Yeah,
So,
you get to make the wrestle, right?
right.
Yeah. Eventually
So
they're gonna do it anyway. So
oh, that's perfect. I know. So yeah, no, and I mean, like, we grew up in a different time. It's really weird now having to. I have 2 teenagers, and it's
yeah,
really weird now watching the way that they grow up versus the way that we grew up.
right. It's totally different. The other day I was thinking about that exactly when it comes like to what how much the youth is missing the experiences that the parents actually sometimes they don't even share. Like I don't have kids myself, but like when I see like the younger generations and myself, because I run a market, right? That's called the pop culture market. I sell toys, movies, CDs, like you name it, like heavy metal clothing and all of that, right? So the thing is, myself, I have to keep up to date with these things about what's going on, like new releases, this and that. When I had someone I remember asking me about, do you have any Polly Pockets? And I go, I don't have any Polly Pockets, but also the Polly Pockets, it was listed as the top 30 most dangerous toys ever because they were right next to Mighty Max, but they had to have a girl version that was called Polly Pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was actually banned. It was one of the most dangerous toys ever released before.
Yeah, well, because kids were choking on her.
Right, exactly.
I remember. Yeah, I mean, I grew up right in the prime of that, and yeah, wow, we had some good toys. How did
We
we
did it.
survive? And it's funny too because like what we were doing as kids versus what kids are doing now. Now, my daughter is 14. My oldest daughter is 14 years old. She'll be 15 in August, and she
Okay.
texted me the other night, and she said, "Mom, can you make up an excuse to text me so that I can come home?" Now, when I was 14 years old, I was trying to figure out how to stay the hell away from the house,
Right.
not begging my mom to get me out of hanging out with my friends. Like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? Where are we now? It's so
that's
weird.
interesting. That's very
Oh,
interesting. Like a kind of
weird.
a kids at the time, I do recall actually one time, even my parents they came chasing me with a belt because we were supposed to go for dinner, like to some restaurant, right? And I preferred actually to be playing soccer on the streets with my friends. I didn't
Mhm.
want to go, and they were calling me, and they were calling me, Rodrigo, get home. We need to go. Rodrigo, come and get dressed. You need to change this and that. I didn't do it, so my mother came over, grabbed me from the ear in front of all my friends, and pulled me, and I went crying over there. I go, okay, there you go. With tears, I'm gonna join dinner.
Yeah, yeah. We grew up in a generation where your friends' parents smacked your ass if you were doing wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I know. Like, and I can say that like I'm grateful that I haven't had to with my kids. I've come close, believe me.
yeah,
But they like I've been lucky with them. I guess that's the difference in between like our parents were always working. Like I had a house key and we lived down the street from the store, and I knew where my allowance jar was if we ran out of milk, and I was babysitting by the time I was 9. Like we grew up in a different fucking world, man.
it
It's
is very
crazy.
different. And at the time also too, like kind of when they teach you the difference between having respect for your adults, right? That you couldn't back talk to them or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
the thing is a kind of a there was also like a kind of a very like separate thing between the parents and children because they kind of if you talk to any parent like these days they say, oh yeah, no, between my daughter or son we're best friends, right?
Yeah.
But what happens though is because also I noticed one thing, it's like there's a certain age when the parents when they grow older, they're either in their 30s or 40s, they start feeling young again. Like they start feeling like kind of this rejuvenation. They feel invigorated about doing the activities that they haven't caught up for a while, right? Because they invested so much time in their own children, right?
Yep.
In growing them up and everything. But then you realize actually these kids, they grow older too, and they're gonna catch up with you at some point.
Yeah.
So you're trying to keep up with them, or they're trying to keep up with you, back and forth.
Yeah, it's definitely a dance in our house. Like after I got sick, I got right back into taking care of my health. Like I had never before. Now I'm back on that wagon again after 8 months of eating fucking ice cream. But
Yes.
But it's totally a dance in our house. My kids are trying to keep up to me all the time. I'm 42 years old and I don't feel a day over fucking 25, even with all the stress and the burnout and stuff like that. Because sometimes I don't get a choice. Sometimes the burnout just shows up and it's like, hi, I'm here, and fuck your plans, and there's nothing you can do about it because you might get sick, and we're not going to tell you you're going to get sick. We're just going to let you think you might, so you're just going to have to fuck everything, so that, you know what I mean? Like it's an interesting dynamic for me. But with them, like sometimes the girls they're 12 and 14, and sometimes they're running circles around me, and sometimes I'm like, come on guys, get off your ass, let's go do something, let's get out of the house, let's go to the gym, let's go here, let's go there. That also is attributed to unmedicated ADHD. So
okay.
I can't take any medication because I have because of my blood disorder. So I am I'm willy-nilly 24 hours a day.
Wow. So, okay.
Yeah. So I'm diagnosed, but I'm unmedicated. I actually just learned about mushroom coffee.
Mushroom coffee. Wow, that's a new thing.
Okay, so having ADHD, I have conversations going on in my head, and then I have a dialogue that's going on top of that, and then I have a narrator on top of that. Then all my favorite music is playing, and then circus music is playing in behind that. That's my brain 24 hours a day. So now that I started drinking this mushroom coffee, it's made out of turkey tail mushrooms. Now that I've started drinking this mushroom coffee, there's no more circus music. And like I'm accomplishing things. And
there you go.
Fucked. It's like people's heads actually do this. This is what it's like to have a normal brain-ish. It's crazy.
Well, I think actually my wife has said to me that I have ADHD or something like that. I go, you know what, Suji? Probably I don't fall in any category. I'm just freaking crazy. That's all. I'm just a teenager with responsibilities. Fuck the world, whatever. I want to do whatever the hell I want with the little and nothing, right?
Yeah, well, that's how I live. I live however makes me comfortable, and if that makes somebody else uncomfortable, that's fine.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the whole idea too. Like, if you're comfortable yourself, and the whole purpose is not to make other people uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. But if you're uncomfortable because of my comfort, maybe we shouldn't be in the same room. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
that's right.
It's a strange world. And I'll tell you, I was in the rat race for 25 years. I worked in retail. I did all kinds of things. And
you mentioned it. I remember that. Yeah.
And after 2018, I swore I'd never work in corporate again. And I can't. So like doctors call it defiance disorder. I call it, I'm an adult. Don't tell me what to do with that fucking tone.
Right.
So it's hard for me. I don't think hey Andrew, I don't think I would be able to, and my brother Adam is in the room. So I don't think I'd be able to do it. I don't think I would be able, like, I have a hard time being told what to do by somebody who thinks they have authority over me. So that's why I do what I do, because I get to make the schedule. I get to make sure that everything runs the way I need it to. I'm very open about what I go through with my TCP. This way, so the support is there with most people. Some people not so much, but whatever, that's fine. I get it. Not everybody has to understand.
Exactly. Yeah, no, everybody has to understand, right? And also, like, to understand struggle, like a personal struggles, like you have to go through it yourself and conquer it one way or the other, right?
Yeah. So
sometimes, like, it can be a lonely world as well, or the people that wouldn't understand what you're going through, right? So you got a war going on inside, right?
Well, yeah. So I'm a giant Pac-Man board.
Okay.
So I'm allergic to infections, and if I get an infection and my blood doesn't recognize my white blood cells, like if my antibodies don't recognize my white blood cells, they will actually eat them. So my blood
Wow.
will eat
Okay.
itself. Yeah, yeah. I got fucked
That's
up
wild.
disease, man.
Oh, he's asking actually, like Steve is asking when it's gonna be
Yes.
the next concert at the Devil's Cellar. So what happens right now? Okay, so I'm gonna start with this. Very soon in May, I'm gonna start a new job. So it's gonna be a seasonal job that's gonna take a lot of my time, basically. But everything that I'm gonna be working towards too is because I have this idea that basically at my place, at the current place that I have here, where I run the pop culture market and I have my AV studio, I'm gonna be expanding a second floor. So basically, I'm gonna have things much more organized around, so they don't have to be everything on the main floor where actually I hosted a few concerts before, and also like I've been contacting other talent around that basically they have been sending me my song demos, and as well I just restarted my band that I have back in 2002, and I ran until 2004. I got a new members right now, so we just started to jam about like last month basically. And the
Sick.
thing is, like, kind of, we're getting ready for that time to come and strike for once and all and rock it, right? So that's the whole idea. Like, come all together in a blast, all together, right? So I'm getting ready for this, and I'm pretty excited, and I want to show that to everyone of any way possible that we can actually do this all
Yeah.
together, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I love that you have that kind of passion and drive for the scene, man. We
Thank
need
you.
we need more of that. And you're fucking multi-talented. You've got yourself a store, you're into the music, you're running the music, you're doing a lot. You
Yeah,
do
I do a lot sometimes. So I have the same kind of mapping of the Pac-Man map, kind of similar to yours as well. I got so many things going on, but I kind of they come to the center at one point or
yeah,
the other, right?
yeah. It's kind of like Sofa City. We got the interviews, we got the shows, we got the
Yeah.
promoting. Um, Irish David Sean says this is
Oh
such
yeah,
a
Sean. Hey Sean, how's it going?
right
Oh,
on.
Steve Kennedy
That's
there's as well. Hello.
yeah,
Yeah, lots of people are showing up over here.
yeah.
Andrew Kennedy. Yeah.
This is
Who
such
else?
and
Alan
we're on
Cullen.
an off night too, so it's so great that everybody's jumping in and
Oh,
chatting and
that's awesome. I'm
yeah,
super
because
excited about this. I was looking forward to this.
so this I'm so happy that it's still a good busy interview. It's nice when people jump in the chat and interact with us and stuff
That's
like that.
wicked. Yeah, that's
So,
fucking better right there. That's fucking better.
right, exactly. When we all come together and chat and fucking hang out and like, okay, so I did the aborted show on my birthday and we finished
Okay.
the show to Raving to Sandstorm. Yeah, like and we every one of us danced when we were done and we were all on the same vibe, all on the same level. It was so fun.
Yeah,
The legend
that's
will be
wicked.
there next show. Andrew, the legend will be there for your next show.
Oh, definitely. Let's aim for
February, coming
September,
to Dave
sometime like that. Yeah,
So
we're gonna aim for September. See, even now, so
keep me
many things.
posted.
You're drinking tea. See, look at what I'm drinking there, right after dinner, kind of thing, like Perrier. Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, Perrier. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm drinking mushroom coffee out of an 84-year-old pinup mug.
Oh my God, you got the mug? I got the same one.
Her name is Margaret.
I got the same one.
Dude, she was made in 1941.
Right. I got two.
Yeah, mine's named
Them,
Margaret.
a friend of mine gave me two, right? And then
Really?
and then Suyi broke one of them. So the thing is, I was like, God damn it, Suyi, seriously, I thought you were not the yellow type. What the hell? You know?
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I bought
a cup of shits in the morning doesn't hurt the eyes, you know? So yeah, so one of them broke, but I still kept the other one. So, but I got to keep it away from her.
Yeah, no, I named her Margaret. I bought her at a thrift shop for $8. And I named her Margaret. And when I first started my Instagram, I had the adventures of Margaret, and I'd have her sitting in all kinds of places. She'd sit next to me at the pool. She'd sit on my desk next to the computer. I just bring her everywhere with me. The guy I was dating, I would bring her with me when I'd go to his house because she was my mug, right?
Right.
So yeah, and yeah, she's 1941 she was made, so she's 84 years old.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, eh? And she's still in good condition. I've drank probably 2,000 coffees out of her. So
That's not bad. That's pretty good, actually.
mileage on her.
Keep drinking, okay? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything, okay? I'm gonna be I'm trying to be respectful.
Listen, this is an internet show. You can say whatever the fuck you want. They don't call me trash classy for nothing. Like, fuck. Could you imagine this show being on cable TV? We'd be canceled before the fucking pilot was made, man.
Yeah. How the fuck is everybody doing? Right there.
Done. It would be, hi, this is your local musical shit show. Shut her down!
Shut the fuck up!
Yeah. Telling you, man. Seriously, I don't know how I got away with some of the things I do, but I guess it's because I've built this show on me being obnoxious and loud, right? And that's how I managed to get away with all the shit that I do.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you this much. I was trying to do a podcast myself every weekend for playing heavy metal music, but I was playing it mostly like more at midnight. And sometimes I would go on a weekend like just pounding beers and drinking wine and strong alcohol until 6 or 7 in the morning, in the morning after. And I kind of it came to a point that I go like, okay, you know what? I cannot be doing this every single weekend, like because it was kind of entertaining. But the whole thing that basically you are sitting on your ass, you're playing music here and there, talking about the bands and all of that, and then suddenly you gotta have your drink on the side, or I'm gonna take a break.
Right.
And then you start feeling more smooth about it, right? You start feeling like more wobbly kind of thing.
Yeah. So when I first started doing this, I did it. TJ Palmer had originally asked me to interview me. And he showed up at my house like 5 hours before the interview was supposed to happen. And instead of him interviewing me, we became podcast partners and started the Savage Circle that night. 5 hours of hanging out, and we started the Savage Circle. And I used to eat a weed cookie because I don't drink, right? So I used to eat a weed cookie like a half hour before the show, and then we'd puff 100 fucking joints during the show. And it got to the point where, I can smoke, man. Holy fuck, can I smoke?
I rarely smoke weed or anything like that.
I don't drink, right? I don't drink.
I like to have my smoke once in a while, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I can smoke with the best of them. I eat. So Josh Smith from Snake River. Okay, so I made him 3 weed cookies this big. They were supposed to be chocolate chip cookies. I dropped the container of decarb into the chocolate chip cookies, so I only gave him 3. They were green, and I told him to eat half a cookie. So I gave him the 3 cookies. I turned around, I hugged Jay, and I turned back around and I said, "Josh, don't eat more than 3 cookies, or don't eat more than 3." And he went, this half a cookie. He ate 2.5 of the cookies.
He's not a tiny boy either. I know him. He's a big boy.
I'm telling you, we fucked him up royally.
Oh my God.
We got to so I have it on video. You see where Josh is like this serious guitar player, and then you see where he turns into a giant 5-year-old because the weed's kicking it. It's so funny.
Shit. So what can I say? On my side, okay, that happened to Josh, right? This, what I'm gonna tell you, happened actually to my wife. So we just moved to the new place, right? And what happened is this other friend brought us a bunch of edibles, a bunch of cookies. And I tried them before, and they were awesome. You eat one, and you are settled for the rest of the night, kind of thing, right? But then what happened is joking around. I put this. My wife loves cookies as well, just like I do, right? So basically, I go and I put the cookies right on the table, and giggling, I say, "Oh, Suyi, guess what? Janice brought some cookies. Ha ha ha! We're laughing, right?" And Suji goes and freaking isn't feeding one or half of it. She ate 3 of them. She goes to bed. The next day, she had to wake up actually to go to work at the restaurant, and she was looking in light green color kind of thing. She's Asian. She's from South
Oh,
Korea.
woman.
So imagine, she was actually like, she was like, I don't know, Rodrigo, I'm so tired. Like, oh, what's going on? Like,
Oh, that poor. She must have been high as a kite the next
I,
day
I
after.
felt so bad for her. I was like, holy cow! Like,
That
what the
poor
hell?
woman. Oh my God. Like, I mean,
I
all
thought
these stories are funny, but that, like, I feel for her, man.
I thought she would realize something. Kind of, I say, oh yeah, you guys have only one cookie. I know. I don't even remember if I mentioned it or not, but she goes and I ate 3 of them.
So on Christmas on Boxing Day. Now this was a complete accident. Things happen. My dog got a hold of one of my cookies.
Oh,
Kind of. And I'm a huge dog lover, man. I sat on the floor and I cried with her while she smiled for like 8 hours. She's a bull mastiff, right? So she has this massive face.
let me.
And like her head went round and her ears went like it looked like she had ponytails coming out of the side of her head because her ears. And she had this big, huge smile on her face, and she couldn't walk straight, but her tail was going like, oh man! I thought she was loving life. Like she wasn't. Like, I mean, it's dangerous for dogs. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
no, definitely.
I'm not condoning this by any means, but let me tell you, when I say she had a smile from ear to ear, and her ears are back here on the top of her head, I was not
shit.
like it was. It was the funniest, scariest thing I have ever gone through, ever.
Oh.
Right? So because I don't, because of the TTP, there's like I don't even take Tylenol. I'll drink clove tea. I'll eat weed cookies because I have chronic pain. Right? So it's always weed and cloves, and that's it. And that's why I have weed, and I don't leave it laying around. My kids weren't home or anything like that. I took the cookie out of the freezer. I turned around to pick up my phone so I could take a picture of the cookie and post it on Facebook, and the fucking dog took the cookie. Well, if there's one thing I have learned, you don't go into a dog's mouth when they try to eat your fucking food. Right? Exactly. So, because I've been bitten once before, I will not do that. And Aura's usually pretty good. She doesn't normally steal shit, but she's a puppy. So, yeah, that was fun. That was 8 hours of, oh my God, what's happening to my dog? I cried. She thought it was obviously.
She's laughing her ass off. That's crazy, though. What a reaction, eh?
My cousin's at the house. She's killing herself laughing, right? Because she's like, it's not funny. And Amanda, I'm so sorry. I'm laughing. But she ate a cookie too. And so did I, right? Because it was Boxing Day and the kids weren't home. So we were eating cookies. And the dog wanted to eat cookies too. And that didn't turn out well.
Wow, that's impressive.
Try being high on a cookie and trying to watch your dog be high on a cookie. And it was fucking brutal.
That's crazy. So you're more of a dog person yourself.
I'm a cat and dog person.
Okay.
We originally, because I prefer big dogs.
Good night, Andrew. Take care.
Good night, kiddo. I prefer both. I never used to like cats, and then my ex-husband got me a cat for my birthday, and then I fought for the cat in the divorce. And now I have 3 cats. So, and then dogs, like I've always had dogs growing up. I've always been a dog person. And I'm not a huge fan of little dogs. My brother's dog Taco is okay, but I'm not a huge fan of little dogs. We didn't want to have a large dog in the apartment. Now I also have a way bigger apartment than most people do. So don't fucking at me, people, for having a big dog in an apartment.
Right.
But I have 2 young girls. There is no man in this house. Yeah. So I can't have a gun because I'll probably use it if somebody tries to break into my house, and somebody
Right.
needs to raise my children. So, a friend of mine had a litter of bull mastiffs, and I originally was like, I went out and I saw them, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get you some money. I'm gonna come back, get a leash, and this and that. And as I was leaving, she handed me the dog a huge bag of food, a leash, a collar. Here you go, take her. And then later on that evening, gifted her to me. Didn't want any money, didn't want any payment, nothing. She, for everything that I'd been through, she gifted the dog to me. So
Oh,
right away,
okay.
I trained her to make sure that she protected everything in this house. And she does. Somebody tried to, I don't know if they were on the wrong floor or somebody was trying to get into my apartment. I posted about it a couple weeks ago. Um,
Okay.
Somebody had tried to get into my front door, and my dog went crazy.
Berserk. Yeah.
Crazy. Like, I've seen her have her hair stand up when she sees people and stuff. She went nuts. And she got ice cream for it. Well, yogurt, doggy ice cream, but all kinds of treats, because why we have her. I have her to protect my home.
Yeah,
So
exactly. See, we don't have animals here, right? But I used to have pets like a pair of turtles years
cool.
ago. Yeah, but they really freaking stink though. Like I mean, kind of you have to constantly change the water of the aquarium, and you have to get a really big space for it. So it requires a lot of maintenance. But they were cute. They were great company.
Yeah.
They were very sensitive too. They would sense things going on around, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
yeah, one time I was having a strong argument with an ex-girlfriend of mine, and these turtles they were hugging each other. They were kind of like a. I look at them and I go, "Wow, we should stop arguing. Look at them," kind of
Yeah.
thing. And these two turtles basically they were hugging each other and stuff like that. But then I never had the economic situation really to take care of a bigger animal. I would say of a dog of a cat. But my wife actually she used to have a Chihuahua for
Cool.
15 years, but then the Chihuahua died before like actually we met. And then luckily, because she works at this restaurant, in which I met the owner back in 2018 when we moved to a new apartment by that point, prior to this place. And the thing is that this, the owner of the restaurant, he had a dog, a Shiba dog, these Japanese dogs.
Yeah,
They're
I know
so freaking
exactly.
smart. Like they're like almost human, those dogs, right? So basically, her task consists that she has to go and work Thursday through Sunday, and every time she arrives to work, she has to walk the dog for about 1 or hour and a half, right? And then at the exit, at the end of the shift, she has to walk the dog again for 1 hour, now hour and a half or something.
Best job ever.
She loves it actually. And she's always constantly posting pictures about it. She sends me text messages with pictures of the dog and everything.
Oh,
And the dog, every time he sees me, I don't see this dog often, right? But whenever I stop by, like at the restaurant or something, this dog goes crazy. Like he recognizes me right away.
yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's yeah. What best
yeah.
job ever, man.
It is actually like she's so fortunate on that. When I tell other people about it, they're like, "Oh my god, I would like to have a job like that," right?
Hell yeah. I have a great job, and I'd love to start my job by walking dogs every day. I have a dog.
Yeah, you got the dog there, right? How exciting, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
some days it doesn't work that way that well. When it comes to I got to walk the dog. Thankfully, I have two kids to help walk her. But
right.
yeah, so yeah, so
Man, we got so
what
much
else are
to
you
talk.
up to?
Huh?
Pardon?
We got so
What?
much to talk about.
I know. I was just gonna say. So what else are you up to? And then I thought we have not mentioned the market once yet.
We did actually, like when I was talking about the cartoons and the different
Oh,
toys.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
For a
but
second.
no, what is not just about the market actually. I can tell you a bit of the story of how basically started the whole idea of running my own market. And I
Yes.
gotta the same things. I gotta say in a way, shout outs to Gillian. You know Gillian under here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have Niagara Metal tattooed on my arm.
there you go. Okay, so because of her, what happened is back in 2016. Okay, first of all, the Devil's Cellar. Everything started with the Devil's Cellar.
Yeah.
I was having a band at one point in 2010 that was called Psychotic Pulse. I was actually the first singer of the band. Then they changed to other three singers or something like that. I don't know. It's not easy to replace me, right? Just kidding. No, what is it? No, time passes by, right? They have to change other three singers, right? So what happens is, I wanted to organize a concert, so I started with this thing that I was going to organize it with someone else, and we did it at this place in the junction in Kill and Dundas, where Seascape, near Seascape is.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
So we were on the northwest side of it, and we were actually a dive in a dive. It was like just this tiny bar in a basement where you can really like it reeks of piss, but it looks so fucking punk metal style.
Oh,
right?
it's like the Coalition.
Yeah, something.
That's not an insult. I love the Coalition.
The Coalition was great, actually. I went only to one concert, but it was great. I went only to see Extreme Noise Terror. And Extreme Noise Terror coming from UK, they were charging only $17 for the ticket at the time.
I know.
Back in 2017, 2018, sometime like that, right? So what happens is I started this whole idea of the Devil's Cellar with that concert. And the concert was packed. And then I spoke to the owner. And I say, I have this idea. Probably we can do like something like a venue downstairs or something like that for local bands to come and play, or for any bands in general, right? But the funny thing is, it was an Irish pub run by a Chinese family that they were Christians. Okay? And then what happened is kind of proposing the idea that I would like to call the place the Devil's Cellar. So they were thinking about it, right? And thinking, of course, I wanted to be respectful to them on the sense like coming with this idea, and it wouldn't make them feel awkward about it because of their religious beliefs or anything like that. But they didn't care about religion; they care about money. That was it. So then what happened is I started to do concerts over there. It lasted for about 2 years. I was trying to actually do different things, activities, especially for metal, punk, ghost music. And also at one point I was hosting raves. I was actually having other promoters coming over, throwing raves over there. And it was a lot of fun, actually. I had a lot of fun with it. But it was stressful because I was going through a time of a transition of between moving to Hamilton at the time.
Yeah.
So I moved here to Hamilton in 2011, right? So I was going to college by that point. I was going to Mohawk College, studying graphic design. I was living with my ex-girlfriend at the time. She scored a house like 5 years after our relationship. Basically, she gets this house in Hamilton. And the thing is, myself, I'm trying to adapt to the whole thing of how to go to school and also to run concerts. And to tell you honestly, it was an uphill battle. It was super difficult because the other thing too, like some people, they were assuming that I was making money out of the concerts. No, I had to take the concerts as they were coming because not many people were coming. I was relying only on the door. I wasn't getting a cut from the bar at all.
Right.
Yeah, so the thing is, I have to, where the show must go on, you got to work with what you have, right? But at the same time, like there were times actually, like whatever money I made, if some people assume that actually I made so much money out of it, no. It would be just to pay my freaking cup of coffee weekly. Like when I was in school, or sometimes even there was one time when the train or the bus pass, it was like $10 or $9.50 to go from Hamilton to Toronto. One time I had to go through dimes, like kind of trying to put it together right after school and saying, hopefully this weekend I'm gonna do well in this show so I can make it back to my place.
Yep. People think when you're starting out, people think that people think because a room is full that we're making money. But at the end of the day, like you got to pay your bands. If your bars aren't paying you out, you're only making what's at the door. Like I can't tell you how many times it's probably been a handful because we worked really hard. Rob and I worked really hard to get to where Sofa City is this year. But there's been a handful of times where I've handed a band a $50 bill. And so, we cheeseburgers, you guys get cheeseburgers, it's cheeseburger money, and I'm sorry it's cheeseburger money, but I lost $100 tonight. So enjoy your cheeseburgers, right?
Yeah, whatever falls in your pocket, right? I mean, kind of you have to always be like a fucking thank you, right? At least you can be able to. you know, make it for another day or something like that. So there were situations like that. And the thing is, I was having a lot of fights with my partner because she was saying, "Why don't you get a real job? This and that, like a kind of a." You shouldn't be doing the promotion work, this and that. I want you to get a profession. So, like, I didn't even want to go to college at the time. I just wanted to work at just a regular job
Build, yeah.
and I just pay bills and everything. But no, like, kind of, I had to go full time because she paid for it because she made me to. On the sense, like, kind of, myself, I didn't have anything else to do. Like, I felt my hands were tied. And the thing is, at one point, she even said, kind of like, you know, I want you to have a career, just like myself. And then, you know what? Sometimes you look at how it is the status of economically of everything up to now. That some people they make it without education, like to basically they work in anything, whatever is available. Myself too, I gotta do something that's opposite than myself of the things I'm dedicated to, but it's just to push forward everything I'm dedicated, committed to. So you have to make the extra sacrifice of things. Sometimes you have to go out of the way. It doesn't mean you have to abandon what you're really dedicated to. It just sometimes you have to put certain things on a pause and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna be putting my effort right now because I want to do of these things that are on hold right now, I want to make them greater.
Yep. If I had listened, well, and that's it, right? You when you know something is right for you to do, you don't listen to anybody else. Yeah, okay, I hear you. Yeah, okay, I'll put this down. Okay, I'll go to school. Whatever, right? But I'll tell you, if I had listened to my ex-husband, Sofa City would not be where it is. He used to tell me that wanting to do this was a pipe dream. Wanting to be a professional writer was a pipe dream. And now I have 7 published books. I have a successful podcast. I throw parties all over Niagara and St. Catharines, and I've thrown a few in Toronto. And it pays the bills. Yes. Is it like, could I wing it without the other things that I have in my life? No.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Those other streams, right? We have the traveling store. We have a few things. I'm lucky that I have what I have. But if I had listened to him, you and I would not be sitting here right now. The market would not be happening in June. You know, I wouldn't be planning, like I'm planning parties into December now. So, you know, we wouldn't be here if we listened to the naysayers. If you had kept going in the direction that she wanted you to go in, you wouldn't be where you are now.
Exactly, and I had to be thankful too because there were a lot of people actually they saw me on those situations. They understood my struggle, and where I can tell you realistically, some bands sometimes like they're not anywhere because sometimes the attitude that they would give to me at the time as well. Some of them they didn't make it too far because they would be like you know, they would bring only mom and dad like to the show and they would expect to get paid, right? I go like, no, that doesn't work that way. I remember when I had my band that just started now. I used to get paid at the shows because I was always going out of my way, handling flyers while there was no much of an internet access at the time. I just was working with what I had. I had to motivate the rest of the guys, say, hey, man, we really need to promote this show. We're not expecting to get paid, but we want to get out there.
Yeah.
You go with no expectations as an artist. You just say, I always say that thing. It's the same as a salesperson, right? Something I learned word from my dad. If you go with expectations of something, be ready for disappointments. But if you're not going with expectations at all, be ready for surprises, and they're gonna really stand you one way or the other because you are just going with a blank mentality, thinking whatever comes up, I'm gonna work it out.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like, you can't start right at the top. But you also don't get, I have to say this backwards. You don't pay the bills on exposure, but you also don't start right at the top. You have to work like when I started Sofa City, I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. I was a comedy writer. I was writing parenting, like funny comedy books about parenting. That's what I was writing, was comedy parenting books. And then somebody said to me, hey, I want to throw a party and raise some money. And you know how to write. I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, we know music. And now that I don't even work with that person anymore. My publisher and I are still together after almost 17 years. But when I first started doing this, I didn't know what I was doing. lots of trial, lots of error, lots of learning, lots of watching, lots of
Right.
listening, lots of listening. I find now everybody wants to play the game, but nobody wants to read the
No,
instructions.
everybody's cut for it. It's the same thing. It comes to sales, the same situation. Like kind of, I used to host my markets where I was going to tell you exactly how basically it led everything all together, right? Because so then like a kind of, I put a full stop to the Devil's Cellar in Toronto. I say, don't use my name anymore. That was my project. That's what I told the bar owner. But he carry on with it, like no matter what, they advertising as the Devil's Cellar.
Yep.
I didn't want to know anything about it at all. I was like out of the music thing totally.
Yep.
And even when I met my new partner, like what I said, where my actual partner Suji, she actually like she saw me at the time because it says, Rodrigo, I remember you were so into music and stuff like that. I go, I'm taking a break from it because I kind of I think I have other priorities to take care of. Especially I was trying to get back on my feet.
Right.
I was leaving. I left my ex girlfriend at that point in 2012. Then I moved to Stony Creek for a bit, like just to live with this Dutch Italian family that they helped me out to get back on my feet. Like I lived with them for 8 months. Then I returned to Hamilton and I started with the smallest room of a house. And then like kind of I spent there about like almost 2 years. I met Suji via Facebook because we had each other added before, like on Facebook, but we never really interacted until one day I was single, she was single as well, and we started to kind of chit chat. And also, like a kind of there was a lot of opposition in our unity because in her culture, in the South Korean culture, they're very like a materialistic people. Like when it comes to a lot of them, they're very like a focus about how much money and profession you have.
Yep.
And the thing is, myself at the time I was working as a landscaper laborer. So then what happened is, Suya and I, we follow the art of rebellion, if you call it. Everything we do in the end is like the art of rebellion.
Yep.
We love what we do, but even that we have to walk against the wind, we're gonna reach our limit. We're gonna reach our destination. So what happened after? We moved from the. I was already moved out from the small room on that student house. Then I moved to a bachelor apartment. I welcomed Suji there at the bachelor apartment. After 1 year of dating, we started our life together. Then after that, basically one day, like while we were about to move to a new place, to an attic, that's where it started. I restarted the whole thing on the Devil's Cellar. Before we were going to move there, I received an email from the new management of the Devil's Cellar from Toronto, and they say, "Oh, hi, we want to have access to your Facebook page because we want to manage it." Myself, I look at the email, close the computer, and it's funny because I had this deja vu that I was going to restart the Devil's Cellar for some reason, but not as a venue. I was going to start as a business, like a small business for me to sell my collections that I recollected of everything that I did back in the 2000s. Because I used to work at the heavy metal concerts before. So I wasn't just a performer in couple bands. I was also like working for Inertia Entertainment, Noel Peters. I worked for him from year 2001 until 2011. But prior to that, the way how I got my foot in on that as well, I can tell you this honestly, like I have very broken English at the time. Like I came in 1999 here to Canada, and then basically in year 2000, I was being shy to go to concerts because I didn't speak that much English at the time. And then basically, kind of one day I'm talking to this guy and say, "Oh, you are the guy who organizes the concert." Yeah. And the guy, he said to me, like the first time he met me, he didn't understand much about the English I was trying to speak to him. But I was one of those fortunate guys who I would wait outside with my Japanese friend at the time. We would get autographs from everybody. And I laugh my ass off of nowadays how people, they have to freaking pay for the VIP pass to be their favorite artist. I go like, what the fuck is that, man? Like, that's not so cool at all. And I remember, like, in the time when I had to go to concerts back in Chile, when I was a teenager, when I really got into the movement, it was impossible to meet these big artists that you admire so much because they were far distance from you. You had to go among 5,000 people minimum to get to meet them because they are big down there. But then you get to suddenly you are meeting these people and they are just around the corner at the convenience store or something, buying cigarettes, whatever. And you go, oh, Chuck Billy from Testament, Udo from Accept. I met all these guys, right? And I will get their autograph, right?
Yep.
The guy Udo Schneider, what he said to me when I met him, I say, "Wow, you're Udo Schneider and stuff." And he goes, "Yeah, what's up? Like, where are you from?" "I'm from Chile." And he goes, "And you came all the way here to see me?" I was like, "What? Oh my God, that guy! He fucking killed me right there." I was laughing so much with him. And oh yeah, I'm going for an adventure for sure. I'm always up for the adventure. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Nikki. As long as he's not working, he'll be with us for the metal market for sure.
Hell yeah, totally. So what happens after? So that whole thing is kind of sometimes I will work for the bands and they would be like, "Oh, thanks for your help tonight. Here, have a hat." Like the guys of Cryptopsy gave me a hat, or all the guys, thanks for helping out like with the load in, load out, and doing security. Here, have a T-shirt. And it was the shit like that I collected over the years, right? So I look at my containers of clothing and I say to my wife, you know what? I'm thinking actually that I want to start this great idea that I'm gonna start like importing T-shirts of underground bands. I'm gonna test out the material and I'm gonna resell them. And that's how I started to basically get my collectibles together. And I decided right on Devil's Night of 2016 to basically to restart the Devil's Cellar. And I had already, like by that point, a band from Korea who were playing a show in Hamilton and Toronto. The band Sahon. They came over, they were my first customers on buying T-shirts from me.
That's fucking killer.
I know.
So cool.
Like, see, like I got the Korean flag right there, the side of my wife, right? Got the Chilean flag right here. But at the same time, it felt so fucking cool. Like, kind of, I was stunned about it. Like, for the appreciation, it was the great start for it. And then after that, I got to meet Gillian.
Underhill? Yeah.
Yeah. She came over and she came with her husband and her son, right?
Yeah.
And that was in 2017, I think, that they came over. And she passed me one of the pamphlets, one of the flyers for the Rock and Swap. By that point, I remember having this dream that I wanted to actually have a video commercial. And a friend of mine, Greg the Scarman, who lives in Markham, who I know him since I came to Canada as well in year 2000. That fucking guy, like, actually saw me when I had the most broken English ever. But one way or the other, we became really good friends. Among other friends I know along the way that basically are still keeping together. And then after that, basically, we shot a video commercial. And a couple of customers on that day of the market, they showed up and they say, by the way, we really love your commercial.
That's so cool.
I never thought actually I was going to shoot a commercial in my life for my own products that I was trying to sell, right? And then and then started the whole thing with the market. And the reason why I started the pop culture market is because I was turned down by another market that I'm not going to mention. And basically, like a kind of I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to make something really accessible for everyone. I want vendors around and all of that. I started in an art gallery first, the first time. That was back in 2018. It was in a really crazy stormy day. Like there was snowstorm. But people, they came out no matter what, right? And it was a success. And some people, of course, they would say to you, oh, I didn't sell anything. I go, well, what do you want me to do? I mean, kind of, I wasn't asking them for an arm and a leg to pay also for the fee, like only $20 or something at the time, right? But so you just gotta carry on with the show. And then I was doing well because also like I promote myself, but I not just myself. I was promoted as a whole thing. It's just like sometimes people like they think someone is gonna do the work for them, and it's not how it works. You have to do your own work. If you are taking part of something, you have to go the extra mile. Like it doesn't mean that you're stepping on the toes of the organizer or something like that. The organizer, you're making the life easier. You're actually getting your name out there because you are the one, the team player, who needs to get the name out there. And no, everybody gets that thing until this day. That happens with bands, with musicians, with everyone.
There's been twice where I've had bands walk up to me and I'd go, I'm sorry, how many times was this promoted by you guys? And not, it's like I'll check their Facebooks, I'll check their band pages and stuff like that. And some bands just don't understand. Like, yes, it is my job to promote your band. It is my job to promote the show. It is my job also to put the show together. You guys are not the only people that we are dealing with.
Right.
So we're dealing with the bar, we're dealing with sound. If we have physical tickets for a show, we're dealing with physical tickets. We're also dealing with online if there is online for that particular venue. We're dealing with going around and doing the postering. We are trying to make sure we are in inboxes so that we have this show going, but we're not the ones on stage. So you have a whole fan base that we probably are missing because we don't know your fans. I don't know your mom. I don't know your best friend. I know you as a band because we work together in the music industry. I don't know your fans. I know people who support Sofa City Sounds, and I know people who support coming out for live music and stuff like that, whether they know the band or not. But you're missing out on your whole own demographic without doing the work with us. And if you don't do the work with us, nobody gets paid.
Right.
You know, and I get none of us are doing this for the money. I've been very fortunate where a lot of bands have said, no, we don't want any money. We just want the opportunity to play this show.
Right, exactly.
You know? And okay, great. Those are the bands I'm paying because they're not interested in the money. They're interested in being there for the sake of being.
Yeah, going with no expectations, just ready for surprises.
That's right. That's right. And like I don't care if it's $50. I always try to make sure a band's got something when they walk out the door. But if you don't push like we push, you don't see that return. You know, like with the market, we have the opportunity to sell 600 tickets for the market. Right. And we're trying to get the vendors involved in selling tickets as well. You know, so same as last year. We're trying, but this year, you know, we're going to do maybe a contest between the Oh, Nikki, I hope you're watching. I think we should do a contest between the vendors, right?
That would be
a great idea. It would help with media, right? It would definitely help with social media. Yeah. Maybe the vendor that gets the most shares and likes and comments will get a $25 gift certificate to somewhere along with.
Yeah, that's like a motivational way of
so I really hope
I appreciate your participation.
Watching, so one of us remembers this. But it's work. It's work. Like this year for the market, we have double the vendors. We have 30 vendors. We have a potential tattoo artist. I'm just waiting on the payment for the We've got the confirmation. We're just waiting on the payment for the chair. So
as I say to you, I want to be part of it, but I kind of right now for what I have to respond first. Like if I can make a last minute appearance, definitely not a problem. Like I'm willing, like even to pay for the spot, whatever it is, right? But I decide to.
No, you put in for your spot. You gave it to Liz, which was actually super fucking amazing because I love her stuff. I'm stoked she's coming.
Thank you. Yeah, no, she's amazing. Like she has been wonderful, and thanks to her, I got the new job as well. So
so this is the thing. Like you made sure, instead of saying, "Hey, I can't make it. Can I refund?" You gave us a vendor. And I know your setup is not huge. So with the Sofa City Sounds table, I have 6 feet. I can give you 3 feet of the table. So if you get to show up last minute, we need you to be a part of it if you can be, for sure.
Ooh,
you were a part of the very first market, and look how successful it was.
Yeah, right? No, and at the same time, that's what I do for every market as well. When I participate in a market that is not even mine, suppose on Sunday, I had this mishap. I had to actually basically do my own market the past Saturday, my own market here at my place, right?
Right.
And then I was going to go to Toronto. I went to bed early and I just couldn't sleep at all. I slept only for 2 hours. And Suji, my wife, she asked me this year, Rodrigo, please don't be hard on yourself. You gotta take care of your health, all of that, right? She asked me for the most possible, for this year mainly, right? I say to her, okay, I'm gonna hear I'm listening to you for what you got to suggest me. At the same time, because she saw me struggling, that in the past 6 years, 7 years, I was coping up with a lot of grief and I was being really hard on myself. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to accomplish things that I needed to get done. So right in the beginning of this year, basically I cut out everything. I cut down on the alcohol and stuff like that. I know I barely really drink because also I want to actually catch up with my vocal style, what I used to do in the past, right? I want to be I I think party's over. No, that party's over, but it's time to chill on things basically, and you don't need to put that unnecessary pressure, like thinking, oh fuck, I'm 44, I'm gonna turn 44 years now, like a, oh, 65 is just around the corner, probably this and that, right? So kind of, I don't want to be with that mentality anymore, right? But it's true. It's almost like you close your eyes and suddenly you are older out of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
Time passes by really quick. So
yeah,
what I did is I apologized to Liz and to the whole crew that I was going to help out there because I had to DJ that day as well. I had to play music for the market. I
right.
couldn't just simply do it. And they understood about the situation, and the same thing, like a kind of something almost like what happened to me, like a kind of because you know, even as you apologized earlier, I apologize to you as well because I was waiting for this interview to happen, and it didn't take place exactly on the day that it's supposed to happen. So
Mm.
yeah, like kind of then I started, you know, you need to kind of sit down and start thinking, fuck, man, you know what? Probably something happened and she's not telling me about it, and it's okay.
Yeah,
And then you start understanding about it. Until yesterday, we had the chance to talk on the phone, and I say, Amanda, I need to talk to you. Okay, tell me exactly what happened last week. You know, I'm gonna tell you honestly. Yeah, like I was disappointed, but you know what? It takes sometimes. You need to sometimes sit down or talk to someone about what you went through, how was your day, right? And
yeah,
then there's someone who is gonna make you understand. You know what? Probably something's going on with their family. Probably they're going through a
yeah,
certain major situation that is
yeah,
affecting them in the actual life. And that's the thing about like having the sense of empathy for someone like who basically you got no idea what's going on behind the scenes. It's the same for the music thing. Like you never know exactly what's going on out there. What you
yeah,
have to do to make things going, like to keep the
yeah.
show going, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and like the main reason is like, well, that's a
Oh, we got off there a little bit. Shit. Oh,
there we go. See,
okay, there we go. Yeah,
this
okay. You
is
know,
so fucking weird.
scared. I was
Uh,
scared first. I go like, oh shit, like hopefully she doesn't have to repeat everything again. Like,
No, no. All I had said was, as far as like the main reason goes, like you and I spoke about that, but sometimes people like, and like I appreciate very much that you know, but I really the apology needs to come from me, and I thank you for that. But and we've
I
spoken about
think as well.
at the end of the day, a lot of people like sometimes people don't understand how things run, and sometimes people are like, "Oh, you shouldn't talk about your personal life and this and that," and but why not? Why not put it on the table? I have two
Right,
girls. I live on my own. I there it's just me and the girls. I don't have support. I don't have their dad. Their other grandparents. My parents work full time. Their other grandparents are in Newfoundland. You know, I have this. I also run Dark Culture Corner with Nikki, you know, on top of all the other things that I do. I've got a dog and all that. And you know, it gets difficult. I also have to micromanage things like my addiction and my ADHD, and I have to
right.
micromanage TTP. And, you know, like on the outside, it looks like I have it all together. But believe me, I'm being held together by paper tape and cobwebs. I fucking promise you that.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's the thing, like because you and I were able to sit down. I'm not going to use the word adult because that's such a gross word.
Okay.
But because we were mature enough to be able to be like, okay, listen, I'm going to level with you. This is where I was at, and this is why it happened the way I did. Because it's very rare that an hour before, 2 hours, I think it was 2 hours before the interview, it's very rare I call somebody and go, hey, listen, we can't do this tonight. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it's if I cancel an interview, I usually know anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours in advance. You know, and especially with how hard, not high, which I'd like to be, but I'm not. How hard I've worked on getting Sofa City here and my integrity and my reputation. It's important for people to understand how things work. You know, I've worked very hard to get to where I am. We have a few
right.
thousand followers between all of our social media, somewhere around 6 or 7 thousand. You know, there's people that do pay attention to what we're doing, and
Yeah,
it, you know, when you do things like that, it's not good on the track record. It doesn't look good on you, you know, being integral, I understand that. I do understand that when things like that happen, that takes a little bit of chunk out of my integrity, you know, and I try to stay as authentic as possible so that, you know, the understanding of the integrity is there, because we, you know, all of us in this industry, believe me, if we were doing it for the money,
Yeah,
if we were
exactly.
doing, you know,
We'll be fucking rich by now.
fucking hey, man, fucking hey, I'd be on a beach on the other side of the world and nobody would know where the fuck
Yeah,
I was.
yeah, exactly. We will be in an island somewhere.
Fucking hey, man, playing
Yeah,
coconut volleyball. Like, yeah, I'm serious. Like, and like, we don't do it for the money. We do it for the love of the industry. We do it for the
that's
love of
right.
the people that we work with. We do it for the peace of mind that we get from the music that we listen to. Those mosh pits are fucking therapy sessions for us. You
Right.
know, a lot of us are the nicest people in the world. We'll drink a cup of tea, pinky up. Like, that's the type of people we are. You know,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
light as pie, nice. You know, we pick each other up in the pit and stuff like that. And it's a lot of moving parts for this industry to work. You
Right.
know, when we
Exactly.
do things like that. Mia, can you turn on the kettle, please? Um, when we do things like that, it definitely hurts the integrity, you know, and sometimes it's hard to be able to, and I'm going to use this cliche sentence, but sometimes it's hard to
Okay.
do the music after that.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Definitely.
especially when you piss off people you respect. Because
Right.
believe me, when you called me last night, I was shaking because I have a
No.
lot of
Oh my
respect for
God.
you, and you work hard in this
No. See, like see, like I wasn't even at that point of it being like cranky or anything like that too. I think I gotta be thankful because in a way I go for acupuncture sessions now once a month, which
right.
is something that really helps me out to cut the crave of anything, like even of not feeling like the sense of either drinking or anything like that, right? So I'm not gonna lie to you, like kind of like, for example, yeah, I used to do the nose candy, it will come the weekend and stuff like that, right?
Me
But at
too.
the same time, but I was never like to the point of it to say, oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta do the nose candy in order to function, right? I was never into that.
Yeah, no, I get that. My addiction is 24 years old. So
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time in bathrooms with strangers that I didn't want to fucking
yeah,
talk to.
especially in the bathroom.
Right, I know, but they had the blow, right? So that's where we were. That's where we were. And
Yeah,
and it's important to be open about stuff like that. There's a lot of
yeah,
people in this industry that struggle, you know,
yeah,
and that's why
a
I'm
lot
very
of them, a lot of them. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
if it's around and you mention it, like you know what, I wouldn't mind one. There's always there. Seriously, like a kind of there's always like a kind of it's available in any way possible, right? And the other thing too, because some people they get really worked up and judgmental about it, right?
Mhm.
Kind of I'd say I have said many times, like you know what? If you're not paying for the thing, whatever people they are craving to do or something like that, if you're not paying for it, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Like a kind of if you want to send them the bill, say, "Oh, you owe me this much because you're doing it, like because of this thing, because of me." Then, like a kind of that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
So
Now
the thing,
watching a lot of these people, it certainly affects me emotionally. It's hard, but like pocketbook wise, it's your wallet that's going up your nose, not mine.
right?
You know?
Exactly.
And it's hard because especially working in this industry, I get a lot of pushback about being sober because I smoke pot, and I get a lot of
Okay.
pushback about being sober because I work with a lot of people that do drink and do drugs. I
Right.
can't control them. I can be there, and they can have the understanding and the knowing that I'm sober, and if they need me, I will be there. I don't care if
Right.
it's
Exactly. There you go.
somebody in this industry needs somebody to talk to so they don't pick up a drink or do a fucking line or bang a needle. You fucking call me, you
Right.
know. I've seen quite a few people get sober over the years just because they said, "Hey, Amanda, what's it like not to drink?" You know, and then all of a sudden they're 6 months sober,
Yeah.
and
Especially the
just
people
because
that
they
were
ask me,
struggling too at one
like,
point, right?
yeah, you know, I mean, I've been sober for almost 17 years, and I've been clean of chemical drugs for 24 years. If I'm
Yeah.
going to smoke a joint, people can go fuck all the way off. Because I don't take painkillers for my chronic pain. I don't take antidepressants. I don't take drugs for my ADHD. I don't take anything. You know what I mean? So I smoke pot so that I can function and raise my kids and have this job and have this conversation with you. right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Um, I've been very fortunate that way. But I also understand that there's a lot of people out there that suffer that can't do it the way that we do it. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
and working in this industry, yeah, guys, there's a lot of people that I work with that do drugs, that do drink. I see it. It's around.
Right.
I can't stop everybody, and I can't um I can't make a hit list of people that I'm not going to work with because they have a drug problem, because then I
Right.
wouldn't have a fucking job.
Exactly.
You know what
I
I mean?
I always say that kind of a because to me it was something seasonal as well, like a more like a kind of a, as I said to you, it was like a I was coping up with grief for about like a 8 to 6 years kind of thing. Even
Yep.
though that my father passed away back in 1996, he actually like the thing is a for some reason when I especially started my business thing, like the whole idea of doing my markets and all of that, because I learned so many great qualities from him, how to be a vendor, how to talk to people, be pleasant to them, how to do business strategies, this and that. And to think that also my father wasn't an alphabet person. Basically, he was a kind of person who didn't know how to read, he didn't know how to write, he didn't know how to do he wasn't educated at all.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm just getting my dog out of the kitchen.
Okay, so what happens is well, I'm learning all these things from him, right? Because like even one older brother of mine, he said to me, like my oldest brother, one day when I came to this country, he said to me, you know what, Rodrigo, no matter how people they are, always learn their best skill. Like like everybody has something good and bad to provide, but
Yep.
always learn the best skill possible from them. So what happened is I was in the last few years. I was actually like missing my father a lot. He reappeared in my life many times, like almost like I was going to make a decision in business. He was right there tapping my shoulder or watching what I was going to do. And my wife believed on that because she knows how spiritual I am about it as well, right?
Yep. Yep.
And at the same time, sadly, a couple years ago, one of my best mentors, friend, who I met around the time like when I first came to Canada as well. He passed away. The guy he asked me about my father. He asked me like, "Hey, by the way, how old was your father when he died?" My father was 57 when he died. He died of a hepatic cirrhosis and a cancer to the pancreas. He liked actually his big bottle of wine after work. He liked his good dinner and everything. And in the end, he ended up dying. He worked his ass off, really hard working person. And I guess what? Like, it kind of we ended up missing him at an early age. So then, when my friend asked me that, my friend was at that point 51 years old. He died at the age of 52. He died the year after, and I was devastated. So myself, I was like, "What the fuck? What? Like, this is fucking impossible." This guy, he was so healthy. He was so, like taking care of himself for the age he had and everything, right? He was a muscular guy. He liked to work out, be active, run his business on the gyms and all of that, right? And he had this commitment that he was treating people with who suffer of multiple sclerosis.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So the thing is, what happened is that he was going to treat my knee arthritis that I have that it affects me still. That I got it on the same year of 1996 because I fractured my leg doing taekwondo. So whenever the season changes, whenever it rains or it gets really cold, my knee starts doing this thing and releases liquid sometimes, right? So what
Oh.
I have, so what I have to do is like he told me, you know what? Well, you have to take this thing because you gotta try this. You gotta take these peptide shots. So I'm back on the treatment of the peptide shots, right? Because of the new job that I'm gonna start. And actually, like not so long ago, I hurt my knee, but now I'm feeling better because I took the peptide shot. And now I gotta get another one so it can get rid of the full inflammation, whatever is produced on it, right? But I'm doing better in that case. But at the same time, as I'm saying to you, these people who in my album on the Insomniac, like
Yeah.
that album that I sent to you that I have available on SoundCloud.com/The Devil's Cellar. That one is actually like I played all of my keyboards. It took me about 13 years to make it.
Really?
13 years
Wow.
because since the unity of Suyi and I started to play more keyboards and I was composing music, putting it together, recording it, this and that, right? Putting it aside. Hadn't complete the projects until last year. I was like, okay, I had to get this album done. Seriously, like it's coming to that time because I was going through so much grief, and my best relief was exactly when it came the end of the year. I released the album, and it felt good. Like I got it off my chest, something I have preserved for 13 years, and I dedicated it to my father and to my best friend who died.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so like there was a lot of freaking emotion. It was hard to write it, to put it together in the last recording, because I was constantly crying. I was finishing one song and going halfway of it. Yes, sometimes I had to stop. I couldn't make it like go through all the process because it was a very emotional album.
Oh, I can imagine, especially when you have that kind of emotional drive behind it from two people that you love extremely, right? Two people that
Right.
were extremely influential in your life. I get no wonder it's like, and 13 is a very universal lucky number. If you're
Yeah.
spiritual,
Oh
you're
yeah,
anything,
definitely. Yeah.
like,
It
yeah,
is damn 13,
I
right?
I have a 13 ball tattooed on my leg.
Yeah,
13
okay.
is a very important number to me.
There was a
My
band from Toronto. It was also called Them 13 back in the early 2000s, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, 13. I don't know why we've been led to believe that 13 is such an evil number because it's not. It's a very universal spiritual number.
Right. It
You
is
know,
actually.
my 13 ball is for my older brother who died 21 years ago. And
Mm.
it was his nemesis in pool. He could never sink the 13 ball. And then I had it tattooed on my leg only to realize a few years later that he had died 13 days before my birthday. And our
Wow. Sorry to hear
grandmother,
that.
yeah, and our grandmother, thank you. Or she was born on the 13th of June. So like there's a lot of significance with that number. And if you just said it, numbers are a thing, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Like it kind of you and I are very spiritual people too, being water signs, right? Because you say that you are a Pisces, I'm a Cancer, right?
Absolutely.
I'm a metal rooster in the Chinese zodiac actually too. Like
I,
when I go like the metal rooster, that's fucking awesome. Because I used to make fun of a friend. I used to call him the metal rooster. This friend from Iraq, from the band Vertigo, many years ago. He used to have a mohawk, right? But the mohawk was very short up to here. I would call it the metal rooster all the time, right?
I'm listening. I'm
Okay.
listening.
And then I realized actually, like, kind of it, I ended up being the metal rooster, especially when I had, at one point, I learned how to cut hair. I cut my own hair still, right? But I would do mohawks, I would shave it off like to zero. I would do anything to my hair, right? Yeah, especially
That's
in
cool.
the past 10 years, like, I would change every style possible to it, right? Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool, actually. I
Yeah, thank
totally
you.
understand the changing hair. Mine's always a different color,
Yeah, I
but
don't know. You feel
that's really
renewed. It's kind
cool.
of it's not like you wake up and you look at the mirror and you go, "Oh shit, it's you again." God damn it! Like, so, so there's always a way that you can entertain yourself. You can keep yourself like active doing
Yeah,
something, and there's no really need at all that basically like you are in charge of how you create your circles of life and the things that you want to do. Actually, you are in charge to take a look at yourself and around and
yeah,
basically like just create your own circle of people that you want, who you get along with, the ones that you feel like they inspired you.
yep.
We go through different sources of people, right? And some people they're pretty shitty, and you know what? Sometimes it's not their fault. They're going through a shitty time, probably in their own lives, right? We never know really what it really affects an individual, right?
That's
But at the
right.
same time, it passes on because like we rely on energies around, right? Whether we tend to attract them or we tend to influence them to others, to pass it on to others.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all energy, right? But it's all based on vibrational level, and your vibrational level is based on your authenticity. The more
Right,
authentic you are as a human being, the higher you vibrate. The higher you vibrate, the more that you bring into your life that you want,
right,
right?
exactly,
So we're all universal beings. We're all infinite right now. You know,
right,
at least I feel that way. From my death experience, anyway, when I went through that, all it took was my memories. This is the whole reason that I live the way I do. All it took was my memories. There was no physical body, no tattoos, no nothing. It was white.
Right.
There was no nothing. It was just white, and all I had was my mind, the energy of my mind, and it was wild. It was it was somewhere probably around a minute or 2 minutes, but to me it felt like a lifetime. And when I came back, when I finally came to, it wasn't all the stuff that I had done that was shitty in my life that I regretted. It was all the stuff that I hadn't done, because the
Right.
memories that I was bringing with me weren't the valuable memories I wanted to bring with me. I
Exactly.
hadn't done all the memories that I wanted to bring with me. I wanted to travel on my own. I wanted to buy my first car. I wanted to take my children to a different city without
Right.
having an actual adult with us. You know,
Exactly.
there was just so many things. I wanted to meet musicians. I wanted to body surf. I wanted to go in mosh pits. I wanted to eat food that I'd never eaten before. I wanted to talk to people from all over, which I live in Niagara Falls, so I get to talk to
Right.
people from all over the world. But I wanted to try different food. I wanted to learn about different cultures and stuff like that. But my 15 years of marriage was very bland. I didn't do anything. I openly admitted it was terrible. That's when I came to, that's when I decided. I was like, I'm not living like this anymore. I'm not going to
Right.
live in this home. I'm not going to live by these rules. I'm not going to live with this person. I'm not, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do these things. And life's pretty valuable. Like we always forget to be grateful that we're breathing, right? Because breathing
Exactly.
is automatic.
And also the people that we come into unity, like it kind of it matters a lot who we commit with, because suppose like myself, I don't have plans of getting married. I think we're happy like a kind of going without these certain laws that everybody tries to embrace.
Right,
Like a kind of I've been living already with my partner for like we have been together for almost 11 years and 6 months together, right?
right.
And it has been a great thing because we let each other be. Like we're not really like pushing each other, kind of or retaining each other from doing things of any
Right.
kind. And the thing is, we keep it together. What we have to do, right? We know where we live at, how we know exactly where we came from the beginnings, how we brought everything to formation. And
Yep.
also, she knows I'm actually the kind of person who likes to get shit done. I'm the kind of person who basically like I'm very proactive in a lot of things, in a lot of activities. If I have some friends, suppose like I can tell you some of my projects coming up too, that they're gonna be more limited compared to than the free time that I had before. But I
Right.
got even offered to take participation of supplying my studio for a sci fiction movie, like a kind of for a sci-fi, like a pilot series or movie. It could be either
Cool.
one, but at the same time, it's not like I'm just supplying actually the green screen room and all of that. I'm also gonna be doing the editing, and I'm also taking participation on doing things within the same movie as well, because I know my friend Natalie for a long time when she posted, I'm looking to do this thing in sci-fi. Can someone help me out, right? And I contacted her right away. I say, hey, you know what? I got the green screens here. I got everything that you need, like basically the space for it to put it all
Cool.
together. Yeah. So basically, she also like I didn't catch up with her for about like 15 years or so. So basically, we came into unity for the after so many years, like to basically start working in this project together that we want to develop in September, right?
Yep.
But there's so many things. I've always been that kind of person. Like I like to help out people with the little things as well. It keeps me entertaining, influence at the same time. Like whatever little activity, video editing, music editing, providing soundtrack, doing anything possible, like doing some graphic design for a flyer, anything, like whatever it is. Like I have that artistic side on my side, right? Of
No,
doing things like that I want to take participation on.
right. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and that's like, I think sometimes people forget that universal means that we are all one, even though we're all individual beings.
right.
We all run on the same energy, right? And when
Yeah,
you, again, when you vibrate, like you guys, excuse me, with pulling this movie together and not seeing her for 15 years. You guys are vibrating on the same level. You're wanting the same types of things, and that's why you guys are in each other's lives again.
right. especially when you relate with people that have gone a similar trajectory. Like she's really into music as well, right?
Right.
But for her, it was more film than music. And the thing is, I was saying to her, okay, so what's going on? Like, kind of, did you succeed at the music part? And she say, no, I was basically just a typical music industry. When it happens with pop music, sometimes they want to take the best of you, make you spend a bunch of money on video clips and things like that. And I say to her, yo, look, you know what? Since we're together here, I just finished my audio recording section, studio, right? I have the other section to do the filmography and all of that. I have equipment over here, and I work with the little and nothing that I have. And I get things done. And sometimes, like some people, they have this illusion that you gotta have so much money to do something. And no, you just gotta take a look around and say, like, okay, I have this and I have that. What can I do out of it?
Yeah, well, and that's it. Like the classic line takes money to make money.
Right.
I started with a pen and paper with Sofa City Sounds. I started with a pen and paper, and somebody introduced me to a band. And then I started writing, and then I moved it onto the computer because it was 26 bands that I was introduced to.
Right.
You know, and then I was introduced to Deb Nansen, and actually I'm going to shout her out. This tattoo right here, this D, is for Deb Nansen, and she was the spearhead of From the Ground Up projects. She was very, very close to myself and my publisher. We raised $2,200. I think it was $2,200 off the first Sofa City Sounds book for the From the Ground Up projects. And she pulled 2 prostitutes out of jail, and she gave them a place to sleep, and she helped them get back on their feet.
Wow, that's the cost.
Yeah, so it doesn't take any money to make money. It took me a pen and a paper and an idea, and you know, the energy to put forth what I had to do. And we packed the room, and we sold all the books, and we gave away a whole bunch of money. And it's what you have in here and in here. That's what's gonna, like, people do. Okay, when maybe I'm living in a delusion, but when I was in elementary school, they always taught us that we saw things out here, and then we processed them in our brain. But that's not actually true. We process things in our brain, we see things, and then we see things.
Yeah, we project them, right? Yeah.
So, you know, like I always say that we are all the creator, because we all bring the things that we want into our existence. Thank you. I appreciate it. We bring all the things that we want into existence because we think about the things that we want, and then we go for them. If I had to experience my life based on what came to me versus the things that I thought up and the ridiculousness that I've been through because I have pushed myself to get to those things, life would be so fucking bland. Even vanilla wouldn't be a flavor, you know?
Right.
Like
exactly.
It just, I wouldn't have done the things that I've done, but because I was like, oh, I can publish that book. I can interview that guy. I can, like, my first interview was with Jag Tana from My Mother Earth, right? And then, and it just opened up all these possibilities of interviewing all these bands that were just starting out. And then I started talking to bands that had been around the block. You know, I've interviewed everybody from Don Valley to a Fanimer.
Yeah, I remember Don Valley. Yeah.
Guys from Morris Day and the Time. To you know, like I've interviewed all kinds of people. And you know, the big ones are great. Sure, it's amazing. It's wonderful. But me getting to be able to interview the larger bands, I feel like that gives us more of a platform for all the smaller bands, because the larger bands were smaller bands at one time, right? The larger bands that I've interviewed, they weren't selling out shows at one point. They were playing in bars that we run, you know, that people like us run. I'm pretty sure the first time, I was pretty drunk, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure the first time I saw the Tragically Hip, I was like 16 years old in Malibu Jacks. And that was a basement bar here in Niagara Falls.
Right.
And
Imagine.
what a fucking wild party that night was from the little bits and pieces I do remember. That's why I'm
Yeah.
so right. But like they all started somewhere, and all the bands that we work with have to start somewhere.
Right, exactly. That's the whole idea. Also, like not to forget the beginnings as well, right? So here's the one thing. When I started then the pop culture market, which it was actually a great idea, and some people they would say to me, I don't know if what is the pop culture anyways, like or something like that. Like some people they will question me about the name. I go, it's very clear and open. I cannot do much more than that.
Yeah.
So basically, right? So it's basically like trying to welcome everybody, like whoever you are into music, toys, collectibles in
Yeah.
general, and stuff like that, antiques, whatever. So what happened is, I was doing it in bars first, right? I did it in an art gallery first. Then I did it at the Casbah. The
Maybe a
Casbah,
couple
like
pieces.
I never liked the fucking place, anyways. The Casbah, like. I'm sorry, like that's me. But and then I was doing it at this in Hollywood for a year, and then
Yeah.
what happened is COVID hit, and myself I had this opportunity to escort this warehouse that actually it was initiated first as a cannabis grow up first, and I had to get rid of it because it was problematic. But no me that I started it. It just like the person who started it abandoned ship. Like he was coming from Florida and he went back to Florida again. And myself basically like a kind of I proposed something better to the landlord saying, hey, you know what? Like a kind of this is not the kind of business proposal I'm gonna have related to this thing, but I got something better to offer. I wanna actually build a studio and audiovisual studio and also run a market monthly here. And he liked the idea. Okay, let's see how it goes. And I remember that we had to go through the uphill battle of regulations, either when you can open, one not, this and that, right? And I tried my best possible to follow everything fine, and I succeeded at it. I can say I succeeded because I still had the place, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to range to something higher, but at the same time they succeed, which is actually I wish more people they join me in this matter. But I kind of when you run something that you're gonna make it persistent and you're gonna brand it like for good, that you're gonna be basically carry on with it. Because I'm one of those people that I start something, I wanna go more and more doing more things often, right? To mark the name or make it memorable, right?
Yep.
So many of the vendors that I had, of the many that I started in the beginning until now, believe it or not, I don't have any vendors anymore. Like for the past year, I just decided not to have more vendors anymore because I would look at some people, I would see potential in some of them, but they were not persistent. Others, right? My market is not as popular as the name it says. I admit it. Like I don't have many people that they come to me, but I make sales. If I make sales, why you cannot make sales yourself on your own? So that's the thing about it. I had commented with some people in the past too, because they are not persistent, and also I wasn't charging them much either to
Mm-hmm.
to share a spot over here where I'm located at. Some of them they would enter and would say, "Oh, I thought this thing was much bigger." I go, "What much bigger? You go sometimes to a market that is much bigger. It can be the most popular thing out there. Everybody goes to it. Do you think you're gonna make sales out of it? Definitely not. It's no
No.
promise at all. And also, you have to pay for the fee that you have to pay to be part of it. You break even. If you're lucky, you make actually meet that price on it, right?
Yeah. Well, and
So
that's it. I've done massive markets in Toronto.
yeah,
I've done popular markets in Toronto where like I paid $120 for my table.
okay,
I went out there, I put all my books down, all my merchandise, and I didn't sell a damn thing.
right,
Been there, and it's hit or miss. You know, you got to hustle.
right.
And
You
even
gotta
with the
hustle.
hustling, sometimes you don't do it. You know, like I
Right,
mean, I fit at the market and everything, but where my spot was, stuff like that didn't work for me, and that's fine. The next year, I sold everything.
exactly, and
So
that's what it is.
same market,
Right,
same market. So
exactly.
and same with the market for this year for Mayhem Metal Market. Last year, every fucking vendor did amazing. Every vendor did fantastic, right?
Right,
This year, we don't know what's going to happen. We have 30
Exactly.
vendors, right? We have 7 bands now. We have a tattoo artist. We have the reptile rescue that's going to
Yeah,
be there.
exactly. You got the reptile
like,
rescue as well.
so, like, I mean, we figured, okay, last year worked, so why not do it bigger?
Exactly. You just go, basically, you just gotta push it to the limit, right? And that's what happens. One thing that I never understood, some people, I would see potential in their product. And sometimes they will have great product, but they didn't have the personality of being what is it,
Yeah, it's
receptive. Like they
personality.
wouldn't know how to welcome people. Sometimes they would expect probably people to go to the table and they have to greet them, kind of thing, right? So kind of some people that are not receptive, they are not they cut for it. Myself, I'm the kind of person when I see someone around the table or approaching, I go, hey, how are you doing? And stuff like that. Whatever you're looking for, metal, punk, ghost, rock music, I got patches, t-shirts, things like that, and I name it. And people, just by talking to them, they get sold instantly because they see the enthusiasm, first of all. They see how you're greeting them. You're giving them a certain importance. The other thing too, you're just being yourself. You don't have to actually change your tone of voice. You have to be actually just natural. You have to be genuine. You have to be almost like you truly believe in your product. That's why you're putting it out there. Because if you didn't believe in it, why the hell bother, right? If you don't believe in something that you're promoting out there, right?
Yeah,
And the thing is,
yourself. If you can't sell yourself, you can't sell your product.
Right. So what happens along the years, and which is actually it can affect in a way in a certain thing, like it can give you a bittersweet in a way that you come across people that when they see you, you're working on something, building something up, right? They will come to you and they will start instead of say, would you consider? No, they say, I think you should do this. I think you should do that, this and that. And it was I go like it kind of myself, I was getting so fed up. Plus, I'm growing older. I was getting to the point of, fuck, man, am I ever gonna come across someone who's gonna say, hey, Rodrigo, you know what? You have a great thing going on. I would like to be part of it, basically. Like a kind of a, tell me if you need help with something. Like a kind of a, let's freaking do it together. This and that. Like a, like it's very like a kind of a. If anything, these people that sometimes they will say they were not going with expectation of anything. Sometimes they wouldn't show up, of course, right? Like a kind of a, when you needed them or anything. But like a kind of a, that's the thing of a, you just gotta carry on with the show, no matter what it is. It must go on all the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
So
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that I never close the opportunities to anybody. I always been open doors to everybody, but they sometimes you come across people that when they open the door, instead of just waiting at the doormat, they're already in your kitchen. So they're kind of disrespectful in that sense, right? That they kind of they wanna almost say, or they come with a plan and then they switch their entire attitude to it, right? So
Yep, my dog's chewing something.
I'm too old for that shit,
Yeah. Like, so, see, I think like the perspective on criticism, my perspective on criticism is there's constructive criticism, and then there's I'm too fucking lazy to do it myself, so I'm going to criticize the way you're doing it. Criticism,
exactly.
Right? People that full well when they are done criticizing you, they're going to go home and sit on their couch and drink their beer and complain about their life. Right? And then there's constructive criticism. Hey, man, this is fucking amazing. But how about, this? Or would you consider this? Or you're doing great with this, but, just an outside opinion. That's constructive criticism. Hey, I think you should do this, or you're not doing great at this, or you should put this here, or fuck off, man. Go home and drink a beer on your couch by yourself where you started this
morning. I have to say that I'm very fortunate. I have great company, great friends, a great family that basically they believe on the things that I do because I'm persistent, but I also the years pass by and I have learned to level that I don't have to put that unnecessary pressure on myself anymore. Right? As I said to you, like kind of before, it would come the weekend and there was this thing and then there was like a freaking drinks around and stuff like that, and then basically I would sit to meditate at that precise night overnight, right, after having my market to see what I'm gonna do next. But then I was thinking, it came to the point that I say I don't have to think of shit anymore. I have done a lot of things already. All I have to do is take care of the details, and now this is where I need my full concentration, so I cannot waste a drop of anything.
Yeah,
right?
and And you have a vibe, man. You and I imagine that your wife is very similar because I've seen pictures of her and she just looks like such a fucking warm, loving human being. But
She's wonderful. You know, we are different to each other on things, but we connect really well. Like kind of, and also she's my middle ground. She's my balance because as I say to you, like I went through my moments. I was a fucking hydra.
yeah,
I was a hydra. I was a monster, and she was there to calm me down, to put me balance, basically. Like, and basically, I gotta say, yeah, I do regret moments like that because I wish I never had to portray myself that way to her because she's a very sweet, kind person, you know. But kind of at the same time, like people they have misunderstandings, and myself, like I decided to basically do it for her mainly this year when she said to me, Rodrigo, this year, please don't be so hard on yourself. And I was crying with her. We hug each other, and I say to her, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be hard on myself anymore."
She's that little voice of reason for you that you've lost somewhere along the way.
Yeah, and I think everybody goes through something similar. Sometimes we get, I don't know, achy on the decisions we make. We put unnecessary pressure on ourselves to just to reach something, and then you realize you need to fucking slow down, or probably you don't have to even move from anywhere.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, and the thing, like, I mean, time is what we make of it. A time like the time on the clock is man-made. How we manage our time is us made. It's universal. Exactly. How you manage your time, right? And that's the thing. Like you seem to vibrate on a very high level. So you do. But my dog's eating garbage that she stole out of the garbage, and everybody's watching. But and I'm not going to stop her because she's quiet. So you can call that a bad dog mom or whatever. But
okay,
it's just a piece of plastic. She's licking it because it tastes like.
It's all right. Every dog has his day. How we say.
Today's hers.
Sometimes we garbage or we drink garbage or whatever. Like there's the dog eating from the garbage can.
That is what it is, man. And she's a dog. She's licked worse.
That's awesome.
So
I like animals a lot. Yeah. What is
it? But you universal and vibration is very important, and you show that. Like you worked hard to get to where you are. You have a very genuine, authentic, soul. I was gonna say way about you, and then I saw somebody post in a comment, and it threw me right off. But you seem to have that authenticity about you, and that's what made it so easy for us to get through. Yes, like I mean, it was disappointing, it was uncomfortable, it was really shitty, but both of us seem to be genuine, authentic adults. Mature beings. I hate the A word. Right? So that's worse than the C word. I say the C word. I don't like to say the A word. But and then that's what made it so easy, because you are genuine, you are authentic, and you are just, you know what, hey man, shit happens, things happen, y'all are okay, everybody's breathing, everything's fine, and we reschedule, we get through it. And that's why we're booking into October, and there was no way that we were not going to do this until October, after all the time that you had waited. Wasn't fair to you. And that's why I was like, minimum of the next 7 days, 100%. We're just like, I don't care if it's a Tuesday. I don't care if it's a Saturday morning. I don't care what, we're doing this as soon as we possibly can.
And I appreciate this opportunity too, because I was talking to someone also from a radio show locally here, and I'm not gonna say names either because they don't deserve the credit. I always say, if someone turns you down in an opportunity, and here's the thing, hopefully, some people they can sympathize or agree with it. I don't expect it for them to agree, but I think when someone turns you down in something, in an opportunity, you have to create that opportunity yourself.
That's right.
You're not just going to cross your arms. And I think my life, and my wife described it as well, Rodrigo, I think you have been always in survival mode. And that's what happens. I think everybody goes through that process that basically where you try to achieve something, you want to get somewhere in life, you are in survival mode, and you're trying to guard yourself, because some people sometimes they don't carry the same intentions, and They don't have the same purpose as yourself. Some of
Yeah.
them, they are just substanceless beings that basically they don't have a purpose to do things out there. Sometimes they do it just to look cool, right? But
Yep.
here's one thing, also like it kind of that made me laugh in a way because of the things that I do, many of my activities, for example, in year 2021, because of a roommate of mine who plays bass, this guy is like 70 years old, okay? He asked me one day if I was interested in playing bass. I say, you know what? I would love to play any string instrument, but the problem is because of the problem of my shoulder that I was born with, I cannot reach the higher frets. Even though I had a surgery in 2006 to improve my
Oh,
shoulder.
it
So,
pulls
okay,
apart.
I'm gonna give you an example. So if I had to pick up something, I used to pick it up like this. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then
Oh,
what they did is on the surgery, they cut me over here in both parts, and basically
right.
I can be able to get to move the arms and pick it up
Yeah.
like this.
So
See
was
the
it a
difference?
was it a tensed tendon, like a pulled, like what was going on where your arm was all?
Okay, so what happened is during the delivery process, like according to my mother, I was a very heavy baby. Where like kind of
Okay.
you can tell how big I am too. Like, I love eating a lot too. Like since I was like inside the womb, right? So kind of what happened is I ended up my weight was a 3.9 like kilos, like it was a 4 kilos. Put it that way.
And what's
So
that
that
in
would be like
pounds?
so that's a like 9 pounds, 10 pounds probably. Like I was a fucking heavy baby. Like kind of like that's a lot, right?
I'm not
And
frozen. That was actually my face this time.
so you were like really shocked. I thought it froze for a second, the camera, right? Like that the connection froze, but no, it was like,
This
oh,
time.
what the fuck, right?
Not this
So
time. Not this time. I like that's yeah. See, mine
yeah,
were both mine were both, one was 612 and one was 712, and I was they were knocked out C-sections, so I
yeah.
was
So
present.
so
Your
what
mom,
happened?
kudos to your mom, man. Oh man.
See, so the thing is that what happened, even she told me a story when at one point she felt like the freaking bus for some reason breaks strong and then she hits herself at one point in one of the posts holding herself down, right?
Okay.
Fucking crazy the things that happen actually. Like it wasn't like it wasn't I wasn't easy to be carried around basically, according to her. So what happened is that when I was born, I came feet first and then head, right? So when I
You
was coming on the
reach.
head part, yeah. So in that part, right when I was coming out, I was struggling with the umbilical cord.
Right.
And it was a constant of seconds that they could save me. Otherwise, I would have died instantly, like within 10, 20 seconds, who knows,
You're a
right? But
miracle
I was
baby.
being strangling, right? And the nurse had to, the doctors, whoever was there, they had to actually pull me out, but they grabbed me from the shoulder. And because when you are a baby,
Right.
your bones like the structure is almost like a
Sure,
milky kind
belly.
of a structure, right?
Yeah.
It's very delicate. So the thing is that I grew up with the shoulder dislocated.
So, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and
So,
then
so is it? And I have to ask you this question real quick.
sure,
So, because
okay.
you have the umbilical cord problems, is that does that have anything to do with your jugulator, or is that something else?
I like that. I
Or
never
am I
know
just
you
putting it together for you now?
no, that's crazy. Okay, so what happened is that what I was going to tell you. Okay, before jumping to my name there. So what right in 2021, when my
Mm-hmm.
friend asked me like, "Hey, are you interested in playing bass?" and I told him about my situation on my shoulder, that actually I didn't play any instruments, string instruments, because I wasn't able to reach the higher frets. I mean, kind of the lower notes, right?
Right. Right.
So what happened is he was trying to introduce me to a left-handed bass. I say, no, I don't like it. I would like to just grab the right-handed bass and just play it on the opposite way without changing the strings. And in
Right.
which it has resulted for some people to be something unorthodox that I'm doing, right? So suppose like a kind of if I show you right now, if I had to grab one of my instruments, right? If I
Yeah.
had to get this instrument, this is the right-handed guitar that I'm supposed to play, right?
Right.
But I play this way, and I didn't
Do
change
you
the
play,
strings at all.
do you
I
play
didn't.
backwards and upside down?
Yeah,
Okay, so there's only two other people I know of. One
Yeah,
I was married to, and the other one was Jimi Hendrix.
that's right. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
only two other people I know. So you can't see it, but on that wall, right
Okay.
here,
Yeah.
my daughters have a Dean, and we never changed the strings. So we inherited some of our stuff from after
Okay.
my ex-husband and I divorced, and I gave my girls all of his instruments. Anything that
There you go.
we ended up with that was his when we moved, I gave it all to my kids. It's not mine,
There you go. Yeah.
right? So they have this guitar, and all of the strings are the same because their melody practices like her dad played, which is backwards and upside down. And Jimi Hendrix is the only other person I know besides the man I was married to that plays that way.
Right.
I think now maybe somebody should correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Kurt Cobain played that way as well.
I believe so. Yeah, he used to play the opposite way too. I gotta watch him again how he played because that guy, he was really influenced also by Celtic Frost, like by Tom
Yes,
Water style of
yes,
playing, right?
yes. Well,
Yeah.
I'm such a huge Nirvana fan that like
Okay.
these jelly beans
Yeah.
are because my daughter's middle name is Bean.
I'm a big fan of Celtic Frost. See, like a kind of the influencer of
Yeah,
Nirvana. Yeah.
yeah, me too, me too. But yeah, I was a
Very
huge
cool.
Nirvana fan growing up. My ex-husband was a huge Nirvana fan growing up. And then when Melody was born, we gave her she hates it. She's going to be so mad that I'm telling everybody this, but we gave her the middle name Bean because of
Okay.
Kurt Cobain and Frances Bean. And then my second one is Mia June, and named after my grandmother as well, but she was named after June Carter Cash. Both my
Yeah.
kids are named after music. So
There you go.
yeah, huge Nirvana fan. I've got all kinds of music tattoos. I'm married to Motorhead. My
Nice.
nephew
There you
Sleepy
go.
Dream from the Tragically Hip. I've got a tattoo for Slightly Intoxicated. I have Johnny No Cash tattooed on my arm.
Okay. Johnny No Cash. Yeah, that's a great
I
name
have
actually. Johnny No Cash.
I have Head Alone tattooed on, like the lyrics to the song Head Alone tattooed on my back. Yeah, I'm covered in music tattoos. I have a
That's
drumstick
awesome.
on the back of my arm that says "fuck cancer" for the drummer from Slightly Intoxicated. I'm
Okay.
covered. I have the Electric Dead.
Okay. Yeah, I remember
I
them.
have
The Electric Dead.
uh,
Yeah.
I have Gypsy Chief Goliath
Yeah. Okay.
tattooed.
That's another great band.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, these guys are fucking dynamite.
Yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
My Electric Dead tattoo, my Johnny No Cash tattoo, my shitty
Yeah.
Canada tattoo. Not that Canada's shitty, but the tattoo's garbage.
You know
Um,
what's crazy? Like a kind of the many tattoos you have. I have only one tattoo, and I got
really?
it. Yeah, I have only one tattoo here.
Yeah.
Right. And what happened is at the time when I got my tattoo, I was only 17 years old, turning 18, and this was before coming to Canada. So a friend who was learning to do tattoos at the time, I say, you know what? I want this tattoo, and basically mine is like I got really inspired by the symbol of Voivod and Celtic Frost. So that's
Cool.
like I wanted to do a mix like that, but it has my name. So it says Rodrigo Racchio. So it has like a DR in one side and DR on the other side, right?
That's
With
fucking
my first and
cool.
last name. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I drew it myself,
Cool.
right? And all I did is I was like just to split the page like this, right? So I had the tattoo right there.
That's
And then,
fucking. That's
and
really
then what
cool.
and then what happened is my friend who was just learning to tattoo, I gave him the chance of it because he was just starting out. So I said, yeah,
Right.
okay, do me a tattoo. Kind of, I want to go to Canada branded. Kind of, because I basically, the tattoo got finished 2 days before I was coming to Canada. So actually, I didn't get the tattoo here. I got it at the age of 18 when I was out there in Chile. So it was almost like I came branded already.
Cool. That's fucking
Yeah.
cool.
So that was a great souvenir. And then now, what happens with how I got the name Rodrigo Jagulator Racchio was because when I got into metal, okay, so everything started like since I was a kid, I had these three older brothers. One of them would listen to new wave pop rock music
Yeah.
or dark wave or anything like that. Then the second brother, he was into breakdance music, but then he switched to thrash metal music. And the third one, he would listen to a lot of Latin music and pop music. So when you're a kid, and this is one thing that probably many people can relate to, we tend to, as adults, probably many adults, not myself, but they tend to actually underestimate the capacity what kid can recollect in memories. You don't know exactly what things are putting attention to, and it could be like sometimes something very odd to oneself. But believe it or not, that kid once like he picks something up, you never know what the level of creativity they have like to do with something like small like that. It's like myself. I grew up like playing video games at the age of 3. I was taken to the arcade machines like at the age of 5, and I would go like every single weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, to it. What is it like? I grew up watching like horror movies. Even I came across some porn movies at the time, which is actually, as some parents they catch you doing that, like they beat the crap out of you, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of
You're damn right they beat the crap out of you.
no. So the thing what happened is at one time I knew actually they had this kind of adult movies because they had a row of VHS tapes, and they all had like titles of movies, right? They used to put in like 3 movies in one cassette tape kind of thing. And what happened is I noticed 2 cassette tapes that they would put in the inside out kind of thing of the sleeve.
Yeah.
And I go like,
That's a common thing in the 80s.
and you know who I fucking saw first, like in the first porn movie I get to see of when I was 8 years old?
Ron Jeremy.
No, Peter North. And I posted, he's releasing a documentary now, and I posted on his page, dude. When I was 7, 8 years old, I watched your porn. Like, and he went like he gave it a like because what the fuck? What are you gonna do?
That's probably like I thought nobody saw that. That's fucking hilarious. Man, my first experience was my best friend and I. We found all her uncle's fucking magazines under his bed. And instead of us leaving the room, we were like, "Oh, what's this?" And boy, did we get an ass whooping by her mom when she found us in the room wondering what the fuck we were doing, because we didn't know what we were doing. We were kids. We were like 6 years old, right?
Fucking crazy, right? But I kind of because
looking at boobs, right?
Yeah,
and then, her mom gave us an ass whooping, man. Oh my God.
The curiosity of kids is kind of it's hard to stop because you don't know what they runs in their imagination. The same thing is so I was telling you mainly about music, but I had no restrictions as a kid,
right?
Of growing of being exposed to different things in pop culture. So at the same time, you would think, okay, Chile at the time was under a dictatorship. A lot of people they would think, holy shit, oh, probably you guys couldn't watch anything. Probably you had to live in a fucking cave and not be exposed to anything, right? We were actually one of the first countries to access to everything. Like we were accessing to everything, metal music, freaking video games. We were accessing to so many crazy things, movies of any kind. Like,
I think that it's a misconception when it comes to dictatorship that people are under lock and key and they're in cells and stuff like that. Dictatorship makes you feel like you have freedom, and they take away the rights that are important to you, right? And I think a lot of people glorify dictatorship kind of to be like it is in the movies, and it's dictatorship is not like that at all, right?
No,
like you guys had access to everything, and you had access to everything so that you would comply with all the stuff you didn't want to, right? And that's how dictatorships work in some cases, not in all cases.
The good thing though is because as you say, right, like kind of because it can be restricted to some people. Of course, my family they were not really part of it. Like a kind of we were just middle class at the time. They were trying to run a business.
Yeah.
And but they witnessed a lot of things of persecutions of other people like that. They were involved like a kind of either they were left wing or there was always this stigmata going on between both of them. Between either one side or the other. It's like nowadays, except that nowadays everything is more fighting over the net. And then you see people actually facing each other on the streets just because of agreeing to the opposition or something, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. But one thing that I grew up in this kind of mentality that my mother was really cool to tell me this she say, no matter what president leader gets chosen, you still gotta work your ass off to make a living.
Right.
So the thing is, like a kind of a while, like a music is a very powerful thing. It's a very powerful, let's say, weapon, instrument for the masses, right? Like that kind of a, that you can have access to and appreciate, because like it really takes you like a to the best. It takes your entire entity and influence you big. I was actually like a kind of a, while other people that were listening to what was going on at the moment, what was hot at the time, I was still listening to music 5 years older than that.
Yep.
And I didn't want to catch up with just whatever the radio was playing, even though I was listening to it, but I didn't want to actually just be thinking, oh shit, okay, this is the new hot thing. So what about what happened before? Like, right? So by that point, when I was a teenager, while my father was about to die, passed away in 1996, between 1994 and, 1992 until 1995, I was listening to a lot of Erasure, Camouflage, Pet Shop Boys, David Bowie, what is so many different bands out there that basically they influenced me. Depeche Mode, right? And then what happens is that I was thinking about the time. Then after I was looking for something heavier because I was embracing a darker time. Like my teenagehood was dark on the sense that I was supposing to follow the masses, like whatever shit they were listening or whatever movies they were watching at the time or anything like that, or activities, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get to the point that basically I wanted something heavier and darker. And industrial music came along the way because one of my brothers, he came from the United States and he brought a bunch of fucking CDs. And I go like, what the hell is that, right? And I start going through the CDs and I find Ministry, like Psalm 69. I find KMFDM, Night Hill album. I find a couple 9 Inch Nails albums, right? And what is it with the song Wish too? When I first heard the song Wish, I was like, holy shit, this fucking song is the fucking song. This is the fucking mambo right there.
Yeah, such an underrated song, man.
Yeah, and then I would come across different albums, and then I found Voivod. They just released Negatron by that point when Eric Forrest joined the band.
Oh, so you just discovered them at their fucking prime.
Yeah, like kind of when Voivod released a fucking album, I was like, okay, who's this band? And I listened to it and I showed it. And then because I started to get to know metalheads, I told them, yeah, I got this band actually. And they said, dude, you got the new Voivod? I go, yeah, what? This band is it old? And they started to show me the old stuff about like the albums like Killing Technology, Roar, and all these albums, War and Pain, right? Dimension Approx and all of that. And then what happens is, and I was embracing something heavier, and I was looking for something like a kind of like, oh, fuck, I want something. I remember thrash metal music. So whatever my older brother was playing when I was a kid, I remember it, like especially main riff, like in the song The Exorcist from Possessed on the album Seven Churches, the first song. Like fucking like kind of that first song is like it possesses you. It deserves the name of it, right? Yeah. And then I was embracing Slayer, remembering when I was a kid coming after school, I was going through the records of my brother and going like, holy shit, look at this. Look at that. Hell Awaits of Slayer, Neutral Assault Survive, things like that, like Accept Metal Heart, things like that, like a kind of whatever thing I could recollect at the time, it was coming back to me when I was 16, 17 years old. And I became a thrash metaler by then. And then Judas Priest, by that point, they just released the album Jagulator, which is the 13th album of Judas Priest. And I say to myself, I notice that every artist has a name. I want to have my own. You know what? I'm going to be the Jagulator, motherfucker.
And here you are.
And here I am, still the fucking Jagulator. I'm still the Jagulator, and I always going to be the Jagulator, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when I can't
whenever I say your name to anybody, I say your whole name.
That's awesome. Thank you. So the thing is, I was like a kind of when I also like whenever I credited myself in anything, it would be in a forum or in a guest book or anything like that on websites or even on my own demo of a Corporate Riot that was released back in 2003. I put, yeah, Rodrigo Jagulator Raggio for everything, right? And
Yep.
until this day. And the thing is, now that I restarted this band, Corporate Riot, it came from a dream. Like, kind of, I was trying to restart the band back in 2009, and things didn't work out with that lineup. So I ended up singing for a band called Psychotic Pulse right in the beginning of 2010. So I stayed with them for 1 year and a half. And we did many shows too. And even with Corporate Riot, we ended up open for Dying Fetus, for bands like a Cataclysm, like a Despise Icon, like so many shows, Razor, like a lot of freaking opportunities that we have, like that I've been recollecting because I've been going through my cases now and trying to take everything out to see anything I can recollect from that era. And I've been doing it well because I just found the rehearsal tapes of the band as well that we recorded on cassette tapes. So I gotta pass it on MP3s in order to start reworking them again, right? But in the past 13 years, I was already writing music on my own. I was actually using this thing here. I was using this. You know this, the PS3.
You know exactly
Sorry, the PSP.
I know exactly what you're holding up, dude.
Yeah, so I was using my video game system to write music in the meantime.
That's
right?
Amazing.
I especially was writing mainly music when I was going through my separation because my ex-girlfriend got this massive house, and I would sleep in a different room than her because we were not getting along well. So at night I would just lay down there and I would start like a kind of putting the songs together and stuff like that. And that's how I released my first album of DJ Nocturne, which is actually a tribute to video games. It's called DJ Nocturne Arcade Land. I'm gonna leave all the links under these in case of anything, right? For you.
Definitely.
So what happens is that when I put it all together, kind of in a way for me, it was a hard beginning, right? Because first of all, I'm writing music under struggle, but still I was trying to put something together, and I was going with no expectations. And suddenly, I released my own album, a full album basically together. And now recently, I just put all my studio together, and I released my own album by collecting all the music I put together in the past 13, 14 years. And now that I put this band together, Corporate Riot, right? I'm like a kind of, you know what? I'm going to freaking redo the logo of the band. I'm going to give it a fresh new look. And we're going to start rehearsing all of that. And because of this history that I have with another drummer, the drummer of the band, basically, I know him since year 2004. We met only one time when he used to play in the band Elevator 22. So when I was talking with him briefly, and I told him because that day we were supposed to open, Corporate Riot was supposed to open for Misery Index. And this was in Toronto. And what happened is we couldn't make it because we were going to play the same show that we already compromised to play within the same month. So we didn't want to overlap things, right? So the promoter from Inertia Entertainment, he basically he calls this other band from Hamilton, Elevator 22, to come and open for Misery Index, right? I went to see the show and I spoke to the guys. I said, hey, wicked show, man, and stuff, right? That was the only time we spoke. It passes 18 years later, in 2022, I see this guy jamming at one place that's called the Lazy Flamingo here in Hamilton, that it closed down already. But it was a really nice place to go and jam on Sundays. And what happened is I look at the drummer and I go like, dude, I know you from somewhere, but from years ago. Didn't you play for Elevator 22 years ago? And he goes, yeah. Like I go, man, you know what? I spoke to you like exactly like 18 years ago. And I remember, like I'm the guy, the singer from Corporate Riot. And he goes, I remember Corporate Riot. So I go, I fucking bought I bought the guy a beer, basically. We need to sit down. We got a lot to talk about. So we're just talking with trade phone numbers. And basically, he was telling me, I just say jam over here. That's it. Like I haven't joined any bands and all of that. And what happened is at the time, he say, look, I gotta take care of a few things personally on my own, but you have my phone number. Let's stay in touch, right? So I let him do his own thing, right? And not so long ago, I'm basically sleeping, right? And I had this dream that basically, like for some reason, I put the band together. And I'm like, I woke up the next morning, grab my cell phone and I thought of him right away. I say, I'm gonna contact to see where this guy is up to right now after 2 years that I haven't seen him. I contacted him, and the first thing he says, "Hey, Rodrigo, it's great to hear from you. You know what, man? Today, honestly, I'm not playing in any bands right now. I don't really feel it. I'm not sure. Like, kind of the passion for me is pretty dead. But just because you and I, we know each other for a while, I would like to give this a shot."
Cool.
And we fucking put it together. And then we got the guitarist, the younger guy who actually started with us like recently. And then we got this other guy, bass player, who is older than us. But I kind of, in the end, when on those years, when I had the band first, I was the oldest kid in the band. I was only 21 years old, 22 years old at the time. And the rest of the guys, they were like, the drummer was 15 years old. The bass player was the bass player was 15 years old. The drummer was actually 16, 17 years old. And the guitarist was around 18, 19 years old at the time when we first started. And some people, they would say, like, man, how can you play with younger guys and stuff like that? I'm like, dude, you have to think that actually, like, you got no idea. You cannot underestimate the young minds out there, because they got more hunger. Like, they really want to get out there. Like, they do anything possible just to get out there, like, to represent something. So
well, yeah, they're eager. The young ones are eager, right? They want to impress you because they want on those fucking stages. They're right.
Exactly. So then,
the young ones and the veterans, all the in betweens, they still got some work to do. But
right. So then what happened is like once the years pass by, right? Like 2 years later, kind of things were not going great as a unity anymore, right? So kind of the guys, they decided to actually break up the band, but I didn't break it up. Because I always say, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna carry on this corporate riot thing, no matter what it is, right? And I had a hard time finding musicians around, but I wasn't one of those musicians jumping from one band to another. Because then, like, if you go to so many bands, people are not gonna remember you for more than you're mentioned, or you might be referred, but you become disposable. You become almost like so easy to change.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I like to have like a certain history, sustainability, like on the things that I do. And the same thing with the next band. I spent like 2 years with them. I was writing the lyrics. I was doing vocals. I was actually making video clips. I doing the graphic design. Like, I created everything when it comes to the logos and all of that. Like, kind of the imagery of the band as well. So what happened now is like re-encounter this guy, this drummer, and we started to jump to the backup tracks that we have from before. And then we got this other 20-year-old guitarist. The other guy, the drummer, he's the same age as myself. The bass player, he's 46. And you know what? Like, there was another guitarist who was going to join us, but he asked us about the age bracket. He goes, "Where? I'm 43 years old. How about the rest of the members?" I go, "Where? One of them is 46. Two of them, they're 43, and one of them is 20. And he goes like, 20 years old, is that a typo? I say, no, it's not a typo. And if you got an issue with that, guess what? I'm the leader of the band. I'm the leader of the pack. I decide who is going to be in or not. By the way, what were you doing when you were 20?
Yeah, not playing with 40-year-olds, not playing with seasoned musicians. Well, that's like Catastrophic Hemorrhage. Their lead singer, Callum Clark, his son, Addison, is their bass player. He's maybe 23 years old, and the rest of the band are all our age. They're all in their 40s. And
there you go.
This kid fucking kicks ass, man. I say kid, like, yeah, I know he's a legal adult, but he's 23. I'm old enough to be his mother. He's a kid. So
I believe it. I know stories, okay? That doesn't know. Hey, been there, done, okay?
He's fantastic. He's 23 years old, and he plays like he's been playing as long as the rest of the guys in the band, right?
Yeah.
Brian, Nick, and Callum, they're all in between 40 and 44 years old, right?
Yeah.
And Addison's only 23 years old, and he's showing them up on stage. He's fucking holding his game, you know?
Very good. The way it should be. Awesome.
Yeah, because like in 20 years, when he's 40 years old, he's going to go, yeah, I fucking started on stage with Catastrophic Hemorrhage when I was 23, and now I'm playing these fucking festivals, right?
Exactly.
He works hard for it, and he wants to He wants to impress the crowd he's playing for. And to be honest with you, I think that's one of the most key things that
It's
musicians,
fucking fantastic.
you have to want to be up there, because we can tell
Right.
when you don't want to be up there. We can tell. Just like I have to say this out loud.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so, and I know that it was such a pain in the ass when it all happened, but I'm so glad that we did this tonight instead of last week, because we have had 2.5 hours of 2.5 hours of non-stop fantastic communication. And I can promise you, this would not have happened last week if we had done, like, we would have been one and done. You would not have had this kind of back and forth with me. I would not, like, I mean, I'm always in the game, but I would not have been in the game.
Yeah, no, I'm super thank you. Like,
you know, and I, so, like, yeah, it was shitty, and we both felt the way we felt, and like a million apologies, but a million thank yous as well for, you know, sticking with me and supporting and waiting until this week. I appreciate it. Because look at all the great conversation we've had. Look at all the things that we've said out loud, and we covered fucking every piece of ground we could. You know,
well, actually, but I'm not done yet. Like, that was only a quarter of it.
But exactly. That's the beauty of this. We can reschedule it. We can do it again whenever we want.
Oh, fuck yeah, totally. I want to do this again.
And like, there's normally I stick to my schedule, and we're not booking again until October. But
right,
as you have things coming along, and as we, you know, you guys hit the stage again, and things, and you start throwing shows again, and like,
actually, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, it would be a great time actually if we catch up sometime in the end of the year, right? Because by that point, probably we can have like a full band interview and all of that. I can tell you more about the Power of the Evolution, what we're doing right now, because we're not really looking to play live shows either. We're not like, for more exciting that it sounds like, for now, we just want to record something proper. Like, you put it together, the album that I wanted to release back in 2004. So we're putting it with new ideas, something fresh, right? Up to date. Not necessarily up to date. We like our shit raw and all as well, right? So kind of we like that kind of thing. And not like a triggering the drums or bullshit like that. Like, we like our stuff like organic, right? And also, we don't even play with the metronome. Like, the drummer and I were talking about the recipe. We were saying, fuck, man, like, it's really hard to have a friendship with the metronome. What do you think, drummer? And the drummer goes, Mike says, like, no, man, fuck that. I don't like to play with the metronome. I say, good idea. Let's play with the heart, man, because that's the idea. Like, let's play with the fucking heart.
Well, it's way better. It's way better when it's raw and authentic. I much prefer, like, I don't know. I much prefer the live off the floor. I want to hear the raw in your voice. I want to be able to tell you how many cigarettes you smoked before you got on stage. I don't want to, and this is why I prefer to go see bands live first before I listen to them recorded, because I can tell you, all the bands that I listened to recorded, and then I went and saw them live, and I don't know how I have this track record, but they were fucking not my favorite, right?
Yeah.
And all these bands, like, and I've seen 2,000 plus performances, right? And like repeat bands, I've seen fucking Slightly Intoxicated 43 times, like repeat bands, right? But I've seen 2,000 performances, and I almost lost my train of thought.
I don't know. I'm so metal that I've seen more than 666 concerts in my life.
Oh man, and what, like, and do you go to 667 or do you just leave it at that?
You gotta leave it like that. You gotta stick to your number. Totally. And it's okay. I come blood. I'm so metal that I come blood.
Oh man, this has been fantastic. I'm so grateful that we waited.
I'm grateful too. Thank you so much for Amanda. Seriously, I won't take much more of your time, but I would love actually to have another interview in the future, like to tell you shenanigans or whatever.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's do it for sure. So
Yeah.
we can find the Devil's Cellar in Hamilton. We know what you're up to because you're on Facebook and you're keeping everybody
That's
up.
right. And you can come only under appointments only. Like you gotta contact me first and see if I'm here or not, right? Like
Okay,
because
good to know.
I can have some people showing up out of nowhere. I go like, I wasn't expecting you.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I'm that guy. I'm that guy who will just like, I'll be stuck to your door.
yeah.
Let me
I don't even answer the door. Actually, I don't answer the door to people. If they show up out of nowhere, I go like,
in.
where?
Yeah, but with
I,
my face pressed against the
I
glass,
don't remember having an appointment with
I'm
you.
sure you'll let us in.
Yeah. See this? I don't have time for your bullshit. Yeah, the devil can be a little bit mean sometimes. I'm not
I know. I'm so glad you said. I'm so glad you did that, especially with Philip in the beginning getting mad at me for asking you if you like hot sauce.
No, I fucking love hot sauce. Why would I get mad about that?
Okay, so he called me a racist because you're from Chile, and I asked you if you liked hot sauce, but he clearly didn't hear the beginning of the conversation where you asked me if I liked hot sauce.
That's so. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Oh, so I'm the racist one then.
You are right now. You are right now. But in the beginning, I guess Philip thought that my white was showing. And like, I mean, you asked me if I liked hot sauce. What was I supposed to do? And oh, there's my naked cat.
There you go.
Was I supposed to just end the conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, we needed to know if you liked hot sauce too. That like that.
Exactly.
It's just like what the. Some people's kids, man. Tell you.
Hey, by the way, I'm gonna dedicate a tiny song that I just wrote for you. I'm not gonna sing, but I'm gonna play you some guitar. And I want to thank everyone who has been watching this. Thank you for your attention. You know, like all these stories that we shared today, hopefully you relate with it as well. You can send me a message if you want, like if you have any questions or something like that. And I can also send you some free music. You can download it at soundcloud.com/The Devilz Cellar. All right, so I'm gonna play something for you just to say goodbye to all of you, okay?
Excellent. Now, before you start playing, I'm just going to mention tomorrow night, today and tomorrow is a doubleheader. Tomorrow night we have Collider on at 7 o'clock.
There you go. Check out Collider's interview for sure. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. That's something quick for you guys. That's it.
Awesome.
Fuck it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Absolutely. You can find Rodrigo all over social media. You can find Sophie. There we go. That's how you know it's
there you go. That one. Exactly. That one.
All over social media. You will see us with Collider tomorrow. Not sure who's on the show next week. We do have Dayglow Abortions coming up on May 11th at the Warehouse. We have a show announcement coming up for the Warehouse on Friday in June.